Okay, folks, welcome back. Now, and only now, it's TGIF. We're off work, we're showered, good to go. We're in my happy place. All right. Back to work on all whitey then. So, one thing I mentioned this morning, I think it was this morning or yesterday evening or something like that. It must have been this morning because there was a vehicle that for the desert people that I needed to find like a rabbit, like a Volkswagen Rabbit, and turn it into a Dust Bunny. And I remembered, I think I've got a Volkswagen a Volkswagen Rabbit truck. Those were around like in the early '80s or whatever. And sure enough, I dug in, and it was actually in the pile with the Doom Brothers. And here she is. So this is going to be Dust Bunny. So it's a Volkswagen Rabbit that is just cut off, and it's just a very small, compact pickup truck. It's called a Volkswagen Caddy, so it must be called a Caddy somewhere else in the United States. I mean, in Europe. It's got a skateboard back there. I don't know what we're going to do with it, but anyhow. Probably going to take it apart because I'd like to put some Kanabi wheels on it. Definitely something that's more like than these racing slicks. So we'll do that before we do get involved in anything else. All right. All whitey then that we're working on here. Let's put the super readers on and see where we're at. We've got the front of this vehicle painted. And this is going to have some hot glue basically hiding this behind it. So let's go ahead and fire up the hot glue, and then this is going to get super glued back here. And that's about all we got to do to it. And weathering, that's about it. So hello. And then we can go on to the next build. Because I'm not going to stop what I'm doing just to spray this thing down. I got too many drink cups. I got a drinking problem. Yeah, tea and coffee. I'll load. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit. Yeah, I like the front of this, but, can't really ram into it without something like this, so. I'm kind of, I mean, I've got a lot of weapons of certain kinds, and I'm, like, really low on other things. So, like, I need a more variety of, like, weapons that you can put here that are, like, turret mounted or something like that where you can, like, shoot out the back, And I think I'm going to try something this weekend that I hadn't tried before. And that is, I may clear coat with a spray, with a flat spray, because it's not very durable what I'm doing. It's working okay, but it's not very durable. It's got little scratchy parts just from handling, and Are we good? Nope, not quite yet. I think I'm going to start tomorrow morning with cleaning up the two cars that are that we've stripped the paint. I don't think I want to do that right now. I just showered. I couldn't okay, let's do it before you shower. I'm like, I want to get out of the clothes, man. It's like 92 fucking degrees out. It's hot. And it's going to get 20, in a couple months it'll be 20 degrees warmer. All right, how about now? All right, now we got it. All right. Before we start sticking this down, where is it carrying the weight? Okay, so it's all in this area right here. Make sure we get a good purchase on that. And then this is resting on, looks like actually the top of that and that. I need to decide where I want it. If I put it in the middle's, the front, no. I don't think we'll do the front. The back, no, how about in the middle? I can't put that big. Nah, if I put that tarp, it won't be white, and it'll be less white than it is now. And I want this to be a predominantly white vehicle, or the name doesn't make sense. Oh, we do need to put chrome on. We have a few more things to do on here. Let's put it with the front of this mesh here. So let's use the, let's go over and pull Glulandia back. And the Gorilla Super Glue, which I'm not convinced is any better. I know that this Gorilla Glue gun is awesome. I figured I would get something with a brand on it. Maybe there'll be more quality control in it. Let's shave this down again like we did yesterday. Get this to a point that we can apply. And we're going to put it right here. And right here. God bless you. All right, we're going to leave that alone for a little while. Get that to glue well. Glue yourself down. All right, this little minor guy. This is not the original tires it came with. But they look better than the original tires it came with. They must have been really small. Let's open this up a little bit here. take this and let's push it into this gap that we have here. It's just not staying in place. There we go. This isn't really holding anything. Let's make sure this can go down as far as it can. So that when we put the rest of this on, kind of fits in. I mean, it looks good. Looks better than the original wheels. Let's go ahead and let's just do one part before and then the other part. So let's come in here and just splooge this stuff in here. And we'll wait a little bit. So we'll go ahead and take those tires and hold them in place. And then we'll have some frosty beverage. I'm going to have to take a weekend then in like a couple of weeks and just do all the cards and play catch up. I'm out of ink anyways, so. Out of some colors of ink. Yellow. This over here, squeeze it closed. And I don't know what kind of vehicle this is going to be, whether this is going to be a compact car, buggy, just a regular car. Let's see what kind of weapons I need to put on it. If you make it a compact car, it can only have one, it can only fire one weapon at a time. Cute little thing. It's like a car, like a serial killer who moonlights as a serial killer, but he's really a butler, and he's got this really non-suspecting kind of car, and he's a maniac. And we just took the glass out. And we're gonna put mesh over it. This one's a Matchbox. I really don't have a preference. Johnny Lightning, Matchbox. Most of them are Hot Wheels. Most of them happen to be Hot Wheels. All right, how are we doing this on this being glued down? Okay, it's kind of secure. All right, let's finish this one so that we're done with this busted. Okay, I'm gonna go light on the weathering on so we can maintain it still looking mostly white. All right, so we're gonna go and get the chrome, the color that I use for chrome. I'm actually not going to use the mithril silver. I'm just going to use this oily steel. They're very similar to each other, and it's a lot easier to just take this one and just put some of it on there. Okay, we just want it to be shiny. Okay, and the same thing on this side. And we're going to wait a little bit for this to dry. The end of these bolts. And that's about all we need to do to that thing. That's about all we need to do to that thing. So I'm going to set this one over here. We were going to paint the end of the rockets a little brighter. Well, we can do that anytime. Next time I pull the white out. All right. So that's all whitey then. Let's take a picture of the data sheet. And then move it off to the side. So if I lose it, I still have it on my phone. And I don't lose it. I just misplace them sometimes. I got these things stacking up. I've got many of them. Many. All right. Yeah, what else? What do we have to work on over here? The rabbit, we're going to have to take the rabbit apart. Let's go ahead and let's take a moment and take the rabbit apart. Because we're going to replace the wheels on it. Okay, we have this standard drill. The drilling actually worked really well here. I was pleasantly surprised. We don't need this on for the time being. We'll fire it back up if we need it. And we'll see how successful the evening we're going to have, depending on if people show or not. All right. Let's put the super readers on. Both of these are metal cutting. This is not actually a metal cutting one, but it's doing the least amount of work. It's almost there. There we go. Ding! All right. Tidy workspace is a happy workspace. At least for me, anyways. All right. So yeah, this is pretty cool, but this thing needs these wheels removed. So we're going to pop these wheels off. Something that works across the sand a lot better. Should come out now. There's a place at a flea market that I went to that he had a whole box, a whole bucket, actually multiple buckets, 5-gallon buckets of cars that were 50 cents each. And next time I go there, I'm going to buy some based only on the wheels that they come with. You know, I don't mind them having like racing slick type cars, but you know, racing slick type wheels. But you know, if I want some knobbies, you know, I don't want to like cannibalize a bunch of like regular price vehicles. So let's see what we got in the pieces parts here. I know one thing right now is I've got. I don't know if this thing is in here. It's the Land Rover tires. Let's see if we've got any. Yeah, the tires off of this thing. How much bigger are they? I don't know if they're much bigger. They're not, but they're definitely knobbier. And I got 2 of these vehicles. I had 3 of them. I'd actually bought it from my Africa project. That's not bad. Do we have another candidate that would be better? We're looking for knobby tires. Not super knobby, like, you know. like this, but still want to make it look like a small vehicle, not something ridiculously large. I think that's our canvas right there. It's the tires off this thing. And we only have one peg to remove from this one. Okay? Can I get away with this? Yep. What did we just go through? Nothing. Okay, well that saved a shitload of effort. Assuming it released it. We got through. Come on, you can do it! There we go. We'll remove one of these pegs. These tires should fit in there, because I believe the ones that I used for Hassenpfeffer, which also happens to be a rabbit, that's actually a true rabbit as opposed to a rabbit truck, a rabbit pickup. I never checked. Is this a Hot Wheels or a? It is a Hot Wheels. No, the other one is a Matchbox. Matchbox tend to be more realistically sized, although I don't know that there's a. It applies always that way. All right, let's see if this fits in here. Undercarriage. If it got something to hold it down, it does. Okay. It sure does fit. And it's definitely knobbier than these race ones. Hell, they even got a little bit of a tread pattern on them. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. And there's like a support here in the top. It's kind of cool. That fits really well in there. Really, really well. All right. All right, so I'm going to do something just for the purpose of keeping myself on the right track. I'm going to use ChatGPT to come up with a name for this. Now, I've already talked about, this being a minor excursion. It's a minor incursion, something like that. But, it is a Morris Minor car. It has been clear coated and washed in the dark. So we can pretty much just roll with it. We'll glue the mesh and stuff on there. So let's go over to here. And see if it gives me any any things to work off of. I don't let it decide for me. That's ridiculous. But how about we go name of a Gaslands vehicle that is a Morris Minor Saloon. I want minor in the name. Minor threat. Okay, that's not bad. Properly improper. That is a great name, but not for this vehicle. Properly improper. That might be a good name for the Bentley. Although the Bentley was brainstorming today, and the one that's the fish and chips model, the Bentley, a good name for it might be something with blight in it. What's this? Properly improper. We'll just hold on to that one. Crumpet Crusher. Well, I have one that's called Crumpet something. Blitz and Biscuits. The Queen's Misfire. There's no Queen about this. Minor Offense. Okay, that's not bad either. Major Minor. Minor Setback. Minor Disaster. Minor Adjustment. Minor Detail. Rusty Etiquette. The Polite Apocalypse. Crownbreaker. Compact. Empire Ender. Last of the Proper. Velvet Violence. Nothing good. Sir Shoots a Lot. Yeah. Lord Boomington. The Duchess of Destruction, Baron von Backfire, no Vons with a British vehicle. The Tidy Tyrant. Okay, so I like Minor Offense. I like Minor Incursion. And I like Minor Threat. So I'm going to go ahead and tell it. Minor Threat is a punk rock band. Is it? Are they good? I was listening to, what was I listening to? I don't remember what I was listening to on the way to work, but I ran out, and when you run out on Apple Music, it starts suggesting you things that are similar. So it's kind of cool, like you'll hear about albums or songs or the ones that you've forgotten or artists that you never knew about. And this one artist came on. I don't know what I was listening to. I was listening to something heavy-ish. I forget what the hell it was. And it suggested me a song by a band I'd never heard of before. And the vocals on it sounded like a fucking gremlin. It was the weirdest thing. I'd never heard of them before. And it sounded like a fucking gremlin. And I'm like, that's horrible. You know? Green Day. Green Day sounds like a fucking gremlin? Green Day, not every song, but Green Day falls in the category. I have a playlist. It's not very big. But I have a playlist that I call on Apple Music that I created. You know, you can create a playlist. You know, you'll hear something like, oh, I like that song. Let's save it to Tony's Big 80s or, 70s and 80s rock or whatever it is that I have called. And I have a Green Day falls in the category of what I call happy punk. I have a playlist that's called Happy Punk. And I don't like every punk song, but, there's some that are, melodic-ish, Yeah, speaking of which, speaking of punk, we're going to, the reason I'm not going to the convention on Friday is because I'm going to Busch Gardens. The reason I'm going to Busch Gardens on Friday with the daughter instead of Saturday, normally I would go to the convention on Friday, zip across the state and do Busch Gardens because I owe her a Busch Gardens day and we got season passes and everything. But they have a band that's playing on Friday, assuming it doesn't get any rain. And it's, what's the name of them? And they're a punk band. Bowling for Soup. And I like several of their songs. They're weirdos, but so's everybody in the fucking band. But they're happy punk music, you know. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, when am I going to get an opportunity to go to a concert that doesn't cost anything more than the ticket that we already have? You know, like, well, I might as well do that kind of stuff while the daughter, wants to, you know. So, if there had not been a concert, or if it was somebody that I wasn't really interested in seeing, would have gone on Saturday, and I would have gone Friday to the convention. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down there on Friday, spend all day. We'll spend all day at the park, and with with the concert, and drop her off and work my way back. Hit a couple of secondhand shops on the way back. Okay, so what was the thing I was going to say? Did I put on here Mexican person David Gaslands with the Morris Minor Saloon? I'm going to put on here it is for Cruel Britannia. And I'm going to see if I can find out what the name of that band was. That sounded... I'd never heard of them before. There's a local band in the 90s that I saw probably... I don't want to exaggerate. 4 times, probably for sure, maybe a 5th time. And they're from St. Augustine, which is an hour and a half away from here. And a buddy of mine, a guy that I used to go to concerts with. You know, some people you go to movies with, not interested in going to concerts. You know, some people want to play games, don't go to concerts. This guy was like a concert guy. This guy that I knew in my mid-20s or whatever. And they think they're on... I think they're on Apple Music, or they used to be on them. And it's a band called Spider Monkey. And they're kind of like Red Hot Chili Peppers, but better. I don't really like Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think the vocals just kind of... But they got that funky kind of... The bass player is freaking awesome. Named Tony. Just coincident. But he's Italian, so, you know. Really a lot of energy. A lot of energy. Okay, let's see what we got here. Proper plus violent twist. Oh, perfect fit. A Morris Minor in Cruel Britannia should feel like stiff upper lip politeness wrapped around absolute brutality. Here are some names tuned specifically for that theme. Her Majesty's Malice, too small of a fucking vehicle. The Crown's Cruelty, nope. Royal Ruckus, needs a bigger vehicle for that. The Polite Punisher, no. Britannia's Bite, little bite. Regal Wrecker, Minor Treason, that's not bad as well. Maybe we'll have a vote on all the minor. I want minor in the name, you know? Like, somebody looks at this and like, nobody goes, oh, that's a minor such and such. Like, no, but I'm probably not going to have another vehicle that has minor in the name. Minor Rebellion, nah. Minor Monarchy, there's no king in there. Minor Uprising, Minor Inconvenience. Minor Inconvenience. Minor Inconvenience isn't bad. Minor Correction. No. Duke of Destruction, too small of a vehicle. Lady Vengeance, it's not a lady driver. Sorry, I'm gonna. Here's how I'm gonna be sexist about this. I have no problem having lady drivers, but it's got to be a lady-looking car a little bit, right? It just, you know, I'm not gonna have a lady drive this. They can. It just, this doesn't go like, oh, there's a lady in there, you know. Dangus be hangin' would be a good... Oh, Dingus be hangin'? Dan the Dangler. That'd be the guy with the redneck dude with his arm dangling all out of it. And I could like make out of green stuff those freaking nads that they put... I don't want to put those things, you know? That's creepy. It's creepy to put... what's the word for it? Phallic shit on a car. It's just weird, you know? I guess that's not really phallic shit, but it's part of the same team. Earl of Engine Fire. Sounds like a shitty Burger King, a Burger King villain. Oh, it's It's the Earl of Engine Fire. Hide your whopper. Baroness Backblast. Sounds like somebody had, Montezuma's Revenge. Sir Reginald's Revenge. Empire Zen, the Colonizer, Rule Breaker, Britannia, Crown Crusher, Scepters and Cells, Minor. Okay. Alright, so. Yeah, I hate those things. That's such bad taste. That's such bad taste. Maybe if I were dangling all over the place, but Alright, so this little guy. Minor offense, minor inclusion, minor threat, minor treason, minor inconvenience. I'm thinking minor treason is not a good one. I'm thinking minor inconvenience would probably be the best one. Minor inconvenience would be, I think that would be a good name. And then go light on the weapons. Like if we make this a compact car, you got a crew of 3. If you make it a car, it's about the same size as the Homer sectional. Pull out the Homer section. Let's get a Homer sectional out here. What did he say? It would only have one weapon. And then you could use all the other points to give it all kinds of perks like, slippery and like trick driver and shit like that. That's why it's just kind of an inconvenience. It's not really in the way. It's not really doing you harm. He's just out there driving. They're kind of similar in size. It would just be one weapon slot and 3 crew. You like minor inconvenience? Yeah, I mean, it's little. It's unassuming looking, right? It looks unassuming. Let's get out the British weapons. How to win with British weapons. I thought there was more episodes of that, but I guess it was just like 4 or something like that. How to win with Roman weapons. Or whatever it was that he said, That was one of them. I like that show. Alright, I don't really want to put another turret. Okay, then it looks too much like the other guy. Okay, so if we put one of these, I was going to say Maxim. If we do, what the hell are these things called? Well, they're all kind of similar to each other. But if it's a Vickers, give them the Vickers. Let's start throwing some things down. Let's call this minor inconvenience. Okay. Let's get one that writes a little thicker. Brainstorming here. Minor in and I'm going to put some anarchy symbol or probably like a Union Jack haphazardly painted, Minor inconvenience. Oh my God. Good Lord. I've been around so many stupid people today. It's contagious. Yeah. Yeah, I was right. Man, it just seemed it seemed too freaking long. Minor inconvenience. Woof. Woof. It is a compact. Compact car is 6. 6 points. It has 1 build slot. So, we'll just call this an MG, although we may upgrade it to an HMG. Okay? MG is 2 points. Okay? Oh, let's make it a buggy. Let's make it a buggy. We can make it a 13. Well, let's see what kind of perks we can put on here. Let's not go hog wild, but it's sitting at 8, right? So we could do 5 points, and we hit the magic 13, or 19 points to hit the magic 27. So let's go to Perklandia. All right, and I'm going to take another piece of paper, and I'm going to write down skills that might be worth having that fit this type of a vehicle, that's appropriate. I'm leaning towards making it 13 points, which is, how many do I need? We said it was 5. Well, we can still have grenades and stuff like that. So if we do like a 4-point perk or something like that, let's see what we got here. And we'll talk about these as we go, because it would be nice to do some that we haven't really used, or we haven't used much. Aggression perks, double-barreled. So this is like a butler or something like that. That's like, a disgruntled butler. Double-barreled. During this elite vehicle's attack step, up to 3 weapons with the crew fire special weapon rule may gain a +1 to hit. Well, that means that the 3 guys in there would fire their pistols, and even though the pistols fire at medium range, they'd get a +1 to hit on them. That's not bad, because at least, you don't want to use that if you're like a performance car. You only have 1 guy in there, right? So you're paying 2. You're paying 2. You're playing 2 points. I hate saying cans. You're paying 2 points for something, but only getting use out of 1 guy. Like, if you have like a bus, like that's handy. Like, you get more bang for that. Boarding, so that's not very good. It's not terrible, but I'll put on here double-barreled. Double-barreled, question mark. Boarding parties. Vehicle ignores the distracted rules, meaning this vehicle may attack during the attack step, even if the vehicle is touching an obstacle. Well, it's not really interested in ramming people, because I'm not going to put a ram on it, because it's really cute from the front. It is, So no. Battle hammer, that gives you plus smash attacks, not appropriate. Terrifying lunatic, I don't think the butler would be a terrifying lunatic, and it's 5 points. Okay. Grinder Man, before this vehicle rolls its attack dice in a smash attack, it may choose to add a hazard token to the target vehicle for each point of damage it inflicts, instead of removing hull points. Now, Murder Tractor, nothing of that looks like a Murder Tractor. Badass, Powder Keg, may add +1 to its explosion check. So when you fucking die, you get a bigger bang. No. Crowd Pleaser, it costs 1 point, maybe. Road Warrior, once per activation, the vehicle may successfully cause 1 or more hits. This vehicle may remove a single hazard token. No. Cover Me, no. Madman, no. Bullet Time, no. Built, Deadweight, no. Barrel Roll, maybe. Vehicle suffers a flip and may choose to place the flip template touching. You want that on something that has a roll cage. These guys won't have a roll cage. Bruiser, nothing of this looks like a bruiser. Splashback, that's if it looked like a shanty. What do you call that thing? A shanty village, a shanty. Those houses that are made out of like corrugated metal. There's a name for them. Shantytown or something like that. Yeah, it's not that. Crusher, no. Feel No Pain. It's just 8 points. No. Daring, Chrome Whisperer. This vehicle may push it any number of times during the single movement step, gaining a hazard each time. No. Slippery. If you try to target it, you get -2 attack dice on it. Okay, well that helps this thing survive. Slippery? By the way, I should have put this as 3. This is 2 points. Handbrake Artist. Okay, it may choose to face any direction, not just 180 degrees. Or not 90 degrees. Yeah. Shantytown, yeah. Evasive. Before making an evade roll, this vehicle may gain any number of hazard tokens to add +1 to each of their evade dice for each hazard token gained. A roll of 1 always counts as a failure. That's awfully costly. Power Slide 5, Stunt Driver. This perk may only be taken on a lightweight or middleweight type vehicle with a base handling value of 3 or more. Okay, it's eligible. This vehicle may choose to ignore any number of obstructions during its movement step. After the movement step in which this vehicle chose to ignore any obstructions during this ability, this vehicle immediately gains 3 hazard tokens. Maybe. The horror perks suck and are useless. I've read them. I don't know any vehicles that I would want to build with them. They're like self-deprecating, almost all of them. Deadeye, no. Loader, no. Fully loaded, no. Rapid fire, no. Headshot, no. Return fire. Headshot's got to be for like the Great White Hunter, like one of those guys that has the Range Rover, the 1960s looking Range Rover. Return fire, no. Precision, I'm not even going to look at precision. This vehicle does not look like a precise vehicle. Precise thing. Expertise, this vehicle adds 1 to its handling value. Trick driving. 3 cans, 3 points. Trick driving. This vehicle may select a movement template as if its current gear was 1 higher or 1 lower. I like that. I like trick driving. Trick driving of 3, where are we sitting at? 8, 2, and 3 is 11. I'm going to do double barrel that I was thinking about. Oh! Yeah, double barreled. No. No. Slippery. It's a 3. So this will be 14 points. That's okay. 14, 13, what's the difference? Minor inconvenience is 14 points. Okay. I'll be right back. I'm going to go take care of something. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. And we'll start building this bitch up. I'm excited. I've just been sitting there waiting for something to happen to it. You know? It's really cute. It's really unassuming. It's like already the right color. Be right back. Okay. Minor inconvenience it is. I guess it'll just be a regular MG, which is okay because I've been using these Vickers as a regular MG. I've just been kind of using that. Remember, they're driving on the British side, also known as the wrong fucking side. Right? Oh, man. I have some that have this sideways like this. I think we're going to have it coming out like that. All right. This thing's going to be pretty cool. This thing's going to be pretty cool. Now, it kind of has some detail. I don't know whether it's graphics or something like that, but it has the headlamps already done to them. I'm going to leave them alone. I'm not going to repaint the headlamps, or not the back ones, because I mean they, you know, it's Matchbox. Matchbox, in some ways, does a better job than Hot Wheels. Sometimes it just depends. I really don't have a preference, but Hot Wheels, they don't paint headlamps. You know, it's like they're all here. Look, there's a Volkswagen symbol and everything on there, but it's not painted. It will be when I'm done with it. So this is going to be Dust Bunny, by the way. You weren't on here helping when I took it apart, but we converted. I knew I had a Rabbit truck, so this is a Rabbit truck called Dust Bunny. So. And it's not going to be a truck because there's not really any space for a third crew member. So this is probably going to be a car. Not going to be a compact car. No room for. And I don't think it's going to be a buggy. So I think this is just going to behave like a car. Car troop type, if you will. Okay. So this could very easily be glued there. And once it's glued there, I could probably paint it from there. I want to paint it black so that we don't run into any issues. When you close it up, you don't see this ridiculous colored thing. So I'm going to get some super glue, and we're going to super glue it in that spot before we start closing the whole damn thing up. Let's make sure we don't have any. You haven't gotten suckered into buying any cars yet, have you? It's fun as hell to go to a store, you know, because remember, you live in a place where there's a lot of hobby stores, apparently. I live in a place where there aren't any. And it's pretty awesome to go grocery shopping and I wonder what kind of toys are here. You may not buy anything, but at least it gives you something to look through. It's kind of fun, you know? It's not like you have to buy something. That's an addiction. But just looking, it's pretty cool. There we go. We're going to put a little bit of this glue right there. We're actually going to go ahead and put it on the column too. That way it'll help hold it in place. Not yet. You've been tempted to, but I'm trying at least to get this second Hoplite Army started so I can play the game. I made with nice minis instead of Blank wooden bases. Oh, that's right. You designed your own game. How much of it will be influenced by DBA? I may even leave this window part out so you can see that there's a machine gun in there. That's kind of cool. All right, let's use the big pattern on this guy. Let's use the big pattern on him. We can go ahead and put this guy away. Just the 20mm recoil. It's fast, quick to play a battle for a board game. Even faster in DBA. There are people that I don't have time to spend an hour playing that game. I would not have designed it so you only lose a third of your army and you could lose. I'd do half. I think half is a good happy medium. Maybe they did a third, so that way, if both guys take, there's other casualties other than that, but it wouldn't have been natural for me to have done it that way. Okay, so I think I want these little doohickeys on the bottom here. I think I want that. And if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna have 8 in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and then we'll cut across this line right here. Oh, how many we're gonna go up? 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to cut on this line, and we're going to go up 3, but it's up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, inclusive of that. And then we're going to go 3, but the 3 is 1, 2, 3. So like here. One, 2, 3. We're off a little bit here. Way faster than DBA. Think 5 minutes. Well, you got somewhere to be? Is it just Greeks on Greeks, or can you do Greeks on Persians? Can you name the rules taking it like a Greek? Come on, man. Do it for me. card-based rock, paper, scissors kind of thing, but with some interesting caveats to make the battle a mind game between the players. Oh. So, and that wasn't a bad O. There's a board game that has something like that. And I really like it. And it's called Dynasty. And it's a Chinese game. And it's a really cool game. And it's simple. It's simple, but it's like a mind game. Let me see if I can show you what the screen looks like. Not screen, it's a board game. Dynasty board game. Or it's called Dynasties. Sorry, it's Dynasties. There's a game called Stroganoff about making something. No, it's Dynasties. Here is what it is. This is what the cover of it looks like. Okay. And let's see if I can find it. Dynasties Board Game Geek. Images. Visit. Come on, show me some pictures, damn it. I don't know why there's no pictures of it. It's just provinces of China. And you have orders that you have to put in each zone, but they're hidden what you're going to do to it. So, like, it's pretty cool. What's this Dino Dynasty? I'll look that up later. I get excited about dinosaurs. Here it is. This is what it looks like. Pretty simple. You got different turn tracks and different zones. And you're either black or you're white. And you have like order cards and stuff. It's cool. It's really cool. I guess I thought it was more zones than this. Yeah, one of the zones is like fucking huge. So. Pretty cool game. I played it a couple times. It was suggested to me by the person that I mentioned the other night that suggested really good games, and he was the one that suggested the booth in the back too. The rules are called Ofismos. Maybe if I ever make my life of a hoplite, I will name the romance expansion Take It Like a Greek. The romance expansion. Love on the Road. Taking It Like a Greek. Okay, that's good to go. We're just going to put the glue on it. we good there? I don't want to be all crick-crocked. And this is, not to make it sound like I'm not into World War II stuff, but it's like you get to play something totally different. And you really can do whatever the hell you want. I like to restrict myself a little bit. Like, okay, it's a certain car. Let's put the lights where the lights go on the car kind of thing. You're serious. You've been working on a hoplite sim game where you play as a single Greek citizen during the classical age of Greece. Getting married in the game is going to be a thing. Okay, so you said getting married is going to be a thing. And the first thing I thought of is one of the first games I ever played. It's a simple game, and it's cool. And it's Chinese stuff. I don't like the modern Chinese fuckers, okay? But all the ancient stuff, I love the ancient stuff. And like I said, the modern Chinese fuckers are probably better human beings, even the overlords, than like the first emperor of China. But the first emperor of China is a lot more fucking interesting, I love the ancient Chinese shit, One of the first games I ever played. It came up. I mean, this guy, his name is Neil. He has really good fucking recommendations, and he teaches. He's part of the board game group, which I don't go to anymore because they don't play war games. They don't play war games, and they don't like games with. There's games that I like that don't involve conquest. But at least they use dice. No, we don't like dice, and we don't like, not everybody, but Dynasties has no dice. But it's elegant. It's succinct. It doesn't need it. One of the very first games that I played, probably when I was about 16 years old, is a game made by all people. The same guy that did Command Decision, whatever his name is. Frank Chadwick. And it was called On Guard. Now, there's different versions of On Guard, okay? I want to say it was even a TSR game. I could be wrong. It might be still a GDW game. But in the game, you can play with just a character sheet. And your whole objective in the game is to move up It's set in the world of the Three Musketeers. And your whole point is to do things to try to improve your character and get more points. So you can go carousing, you can engage people in duels, you can do, so it's almost like role play, but everybody's kind of in the same thing. So there was this one guy whose name was Will. He was older, he was maybe 24 or something like that when we were 16, or maybe 23 or something. And he was a pretty good painter, at least I thought so at the time. And he had 25 millimeter figures of the Three Musketeers and the Cardinal's Guard and all that kind of stuff. So when you went and he did random encounters and stuff like that. But it was cool because everybody was people weren't playing against each other. You were kind of playing against the system, the whole hierarchy of Renaissance France, and that's things you could do. You could get married. You can try to get into a better regiment, or you get more prestige and things like that. And it was just something involved in a die roll. And there's actually... So now, if I played it now, it might be it's just too simple or something like that. But at the time, I thought it was pretty involved. But, I'm 16 fucking years old, and I don't have any wargaming experience, right? So, but it was really cool from that aspect, and it came in a DBA size book, the old DBA 2.2, small book. You probably get it cheap, and there might be some ideas in there that you could work on. I bet there's play by mail groups and things of that game. Let me see if I could do a quick On Guard game. No, let me do On Guard. Yeah, On Guard game. Frank Chadwick. 1975 tabletop role-playing game designed by Frank Chadwick, Daryl Hanney, and others for Game Designers Workshop. It's a swashbuckling proto-RPG set in 17th century Paris, focusing on social climbing. Dude, like Greece, you can do that, you know? Oligarchs and all that kind of shit. Focusing on social climbing, dueling, and intrigue without requiring a game master. That is a plus. The game is known for blending RPG elements with strict strategy, often used for play-by-mail campaigns. But it's not the Osprey Games one. You know? I would never have found this. I know, that's what we're here for, man. It's a cooperative. Well, that sounds dirty. Yeah, you know? I bet there's a free version of it. I bet there's a free version of it with RPG Museum. External links. On guard at Wikipedia. Okay, how about... There's multiple people running... Oh. Somebody wrote a computer program in BASIC. Play-by-mail game format. It's a really cool game. At least I thought it was really cool, you know? Frank Chadwick. Let me find him. There's a picture of him right here. Prolific game designer. I believe it uses D6. On guard game, Frank Chadwick, free. Download. Document pub. What the F is this? Security verification. Bye-bye. I bet there's a version of it. Super basic looking. It's got this cover. The cover that I have was not that cover. It looked like this. This is off of Board Game Geek. List of brigades, friends, enemies, and weapons. Events. It's really old school, but it probably means that there's, you know... All you need to play On Guard is a pencil, paper, a 6-sided die, the On Guard rule booklet, adventurous imagination, and some friends. Rules cover a complete 17th century society in some hypothetical country. Oh, call it France if you like. Specific rules include a complete fencing system to settle those disputes you may have, character generation, social climbing, money, carousing, mistresses, gambling, or, you know, if it's in Athens, it could be little boys. Gambling, influence, the military, advancement, everything you need to live a full life and enjoy every minute of it. $4 prepaid. Yeah. Have fun with it. Get something going and I'll play with you. It's freaking cool, you know? I mean, it's totally could work for the Greek thing. You know, because Greece has all that intrigue stuff, you know, and like paying people off and, you know. Oh, yeah, it's all democracy. Yep, sure it is. Oh, and you can't vote, and you can't vote, and you can't vote, and you can't vote. It's a democracy of the oligarchs. Well, I mean, it depends which city-state, you know. Yeah. That's what we're here, man, for, is to... I'm glad you found that interesting. Shit, I hadn't played that since 1987. And the guy just disappeared. He dis-fucking-peared. You know, all the people that we played with, we were all 16, 17 years old, and he was in college. He was in college, so he was probably in his 21, 22, whatever. And, yeah, I played it a couple times, you know. That's amazingly perfect. To think I was going to skip out tonight and not paint. Nope. You can learn a lot from a dummy. You know, you have good ideas too. You know, hey, just come online and we'll blow smoke up each other's ass. No, there's some great stuff out there. At least it's like a starting point. You know, like maybe you don't want to use D6, maybe you want to use percentile or D20 or whatever it is. You know. I know that it was entertaining, you know. All right, how do we want the bottom? So this one is at 45 degrees. So we're going to do all these at 45 degrees. I'm just in the habit of not putting one piece all the way across. I want the doors to work, technically, you know. It's just something I'm anal retentive about. But what I'm going to do is, let's take a shortcut. Uh-oh, what shortcut are you taking? Let's cut the full length of both windows and then divide them later. So if I'm good with it starting here, and I'm good with it going to this gap here where there is one, then all I need to do is figure we're going to go to this point here. Make sure I cut the right one. It's just hard to tell. That one right there. Yeah, that one. And then we need to cut it up to that point. I like percentile too. I am a percentile fan. I don't like 2d6, for instance, because 2d6, it's a +1. Well, a +1 when your number is a 7 is very different than a +1 when your number is an 11. Like, it's not proportional. And I can understand that, but I don't like it. It's dirty. Let's see how we did. We did good. All right, let's cut another one just like this one. We use the existing bottom here. Oh, just a tiny bit short. Let's go over here then. Yeah, too many people, people want different things out of playing games. I want I want worthwhile decisions to make. That's why DVA is so freaking great. Like every turn, there's something meaningful you need to make. You can't do everything. It's not like it's on autopilot. There's meaningful decisions to make. And it's fun. That's why I don't really like watching television. What decisions do you have to make? Whether you're done with the show and move on? I mean, Okay, we got 1, 2, 3 across. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we want to come across. Ooh. Let's not fuck this up. I may have fucked this up. I didn't have enough of a height advantage. We'll save it and use it for something else if it doesn't work. I don't know if I really fucked it up though. No, I can make that work. Okay. I made a mistake thinking I made a mistake. Yeah, deviating the pips. Yeah, it's just basically that, are you going to go through a whole system of obfuscating the game from each other? Like if you got two players, do you have like a hidden thing where it's like you're putting something physical to dumb down what decisions you make? Or how about both of you are like a deity, for lack of a better word, and your guys just don't listen to you? That's better, because you're not frustrated like, man, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have done that. It doesn't become personal. It's like everybody can see all the detail that's going on, but your guys don't listen to you. And that wouldn't have occurred to me before playing DBA, but it's a better system. Being able to see everything, both people seeing everything as a player, and then base your decisions around that. I mean, blind's even better. I'm going to find a way to play this blind eventually. If we keep playing it, I'll find a way to do blind Gaslands, or some sense of blindness to it. Blind. Well, the thing is you roll those dice, right? Do you want to change up a gear? Yeah, I want to change up a gear. Oh, you didn't roll any change up a gears. Maybe it won't work. It's at least, it's interesting. Maybe it won't be. But about the narrative, something worth playing that's going to provide a narrative that's freaking interesting. It's like, you'll never believe what happened, But just like, what happened in the game I won? Okay, well, there's got to be more to that. Winning isn't important, How many people did I say I played on guard with? Will kind of ran it. I don't think he played, but, so he keep the game moving. 4 or 5 other people, for sure. It could certainly handle that. And most of the people aren't really interacting with each other. It's almost kind of like, we're all trying to get better in society, and it's almost kind of like compare like how we did. It's almost like if you're playing Patton's Best, and you're playing with 4 different tanks, and you're going through a mission. And it's random what kind of mission things happen to you. And at the end of it, it's not like, okay, you're going against a mission against Frank, okay? And you're going to fight Frank. No, it's like, you go, what do you want to do this turn? Oh, I want to carouse. Okay, well, let's see if you get laid or whatever it is. I forget exactly what exactly the details. But, you can do this for different stuff, or get a mistress or duel other people. But it's like other people that in society, you're not fighting people directly. I don't think. I'm sure there's probably a way to do it, but that's not the point, I think the point is just kind of, that way you can kind of cooperate, you can cheer everybody on kind of thing. Of course, you can do that anyways. That's the way I play Gaslands. Like, it's competitive, but I want cool things to happen, Not all people want that. Some people want to win at all costs. I'm like, no need for that. Okay, this is going to be split right here. All right, that's the front window. Or as they say, winder. No, I don't say that. Let's remove this here. It's a saloon car. Saloon just sounds like somebody is playing the piano and it's going to get shot. That's good. That's good. We're gonna glue that little bastard right there. I know I've mentioned that game before, but it's got to be something that you had to be there to hear it, and it's got to be something that would apply to what you're doing. They have a gender neutral version of On Guard. Not using gender. I'm not used to using gender neutral in the same sentence. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It just, it just sounds like you're trying to please people that can never be pleased. Seems like a waste of time, like, pissing up a rope or something. We're going to cut across this one. Today, I'm pissing up a rope. Well, that's the problem with role player people. Role player people are really like not fun at parties. And I don't have a problem playing with somebody who wants to pretend they're an elephant, but I want to laugh about it. Space opera? Man, send me the link where you're fighting all those different versions. Kind of cool. It's certainly interesting, or I certainly enjoyed it in 1987. There we go. Okay. Now this window, we're not going to have that, but we are going to have it on the front. What's a space opera? By definition. Like Star Wars, or is there like a lot of vibrato? I don't like opera. I like plays, but I don't like opera. Not a fan. I can't fucking understand it. Let's go right there. Yeah, but what makes it an opera? What's the, what makes it an opera as opposed to just like a science fiction story? Let's cut half of this one off. And why is, say, Star Trek not a space opera? Maybe it is. Opera's a word that just turns me off. It's like, oh, here comes that vibrato that I don't understand. It's like, vibrato, and it's in a language that I don't speak. It's like, okay, double whammy. An ongoing family drama. Okay, cool. So Game of Thrones, if it was in space, could be a space opera. I guess that's why it's called a soap opera. Even though that has to do with selling soap with the soap adverts. But, okay. Okay, I think that's how we're gonna do this little guy. And then the front, before we give in, oh, is this like this? The remainder is like the exact size I'm supposed to have. Man, that's pretty freaking close. That's scary close. Maybe it's meant to be. Let's glue it on. Google says it's because of the grand melodrama feel. Okay. Speaking of the Three Musketeers, one of the movies I always wanted to show my daughter, and I want to say it's the original one, but there's ones that are much earlier than that. The one with Vincent Price, the one from like 1946 that's colorized. The one with Errol Flynn that all of the sword fighting stuff comes from. The inspiration for all the sword fighting things and every other movie comes from that movie. Never been able to show it to her. I don't want to rent it. I mean, obviously you could rent it, but same thing with Ben-Hur, the original one. So I was mentioning to my daughter, oh, we saw it. I said, no, the second one sucked. I don't mind old movies. I just don't like black and white movies. You don't know if you've ever seen it. There's a shit ton of them. There's like two of them that are black and white. There's the one I just mentioned with Vincent Price. Then there's like one for every decade. There's one in the 70s where everybody has like 70s hair. There's the one from the 90s that has, Kiefer Sutherland and who's the Charlie Sheen in it and stuff like that. I'm like, who needs to be in that kind of thing? There's like a Russian version. It's kind of cool that they do something that's history. It's not like British, and a side of British. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's like, dude, we need other... there are other countries. You saw the comedy with Steve Martin? Three Musketeers with Steve Martin? I don't know. I haven't seen that one. The movie that was really funny at the time, it probably would not be funny now. Not because it's inappropriate, but just because some things aren't as funny as they used to be. Is Zorro the Gay Blade. Zorro the Gay Blade was a really funny movie. And that's where, I don't know if you've ever seen it. What's this Playboy looking guy? George Hamilton. plays Zorro and his gay cousin or something. So Zorro like gets hurt, and I haven't seen it in so long. It's probably something I should watch with my daughter and the wife. Probably like it. But he gets hurt, and his gay cousin or brother or something like that takes over for him, and he's way over the top. He's very flamboyant, played by the same guy. It was really funny. I remember my dad really finding it, really funny. It's like 1977, 78, 79, something like that. That's Three Musketeers-ish, but it's definitely a comedy. It may not be as funny now because, flamboyancy things are a lot more common than they used to be. Okay, so I think this is what we're gonna do. We've got the cage in there. We got the Vickers. Give them the Vickers. All right, let's see if we didn't back ourselves into a corner and can't paint this inside of the Vickers. Well, I'm sure we'll do okay. Hello. We'll do, no, this is Glulandia. Let's put this over here. Three Amigos. I remember not liking that very much. I want to see planes, trains, and automobiles. I don't think that, Steve Martin isn't that funny. I don't dislike him, but he's just not that fun. I tell you what, one thing that we really enjoyed watching as a family is that Only Murders in the Building, and that has Martin Short and Steve Martin in them. And apparently they're good buds in life, in real life. It's really well done. I thought it was pretty good. Of course, every season, they did like 5 seasons. Every season was worse than the previous one, like every other program. But we enjoyed watching it as a family. It's a lot more risque than you would have thought, but it's okay. It's definitely the funniest thing in the whole thing that I literally almost peed myself laughing is something that at the end of the first season that Steve Martin does. That's just really we like, especially the daughter and I, we like physical humor. Not Will Ferrell physical humor. Although my daughter can stand Will Ferrell. He doesn't do anything for me. But we like physical humor. And Chevy Chase, sometimes he's funny, He was really good in Community. I thought Community had some episodes that were just pee yourself funny. I really liked Community, except the last season. Last season didn't exist, but it was pretty solid all the way through. And that was just a fluke, We're like, let's watch this and see what it is. And then I got my daughter watching it. It was just some hilarious stuff in there. But my wife, who likes comedy stuff and is very limited in what she watched, she didn't watch Community with us. I don't know why. So I think I'm going to do a little test this weekend. The test I'm going to do is going to involve this, because I don't have anything to lose. And the test I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to clear coat this with a spray can and see if it's more durable. I don't like the fumes, but the clear spray I'm using, acrylic, just isn't. It's like rubbing off on me as I'm working on it, and it's just kind of annoying. And I mean, all my DBA stuff is not clear coated that way. It's all done with like spray But see, I would paint I'd prime it, and then I would paint it, and then I would gloss coat it, so it would get it everywhere it needed to be, and then I would hand paint the flat, and it was like really flat, and that stuff's really durable. Wherever the hell it is, made by Testers. It's literally a lacquer. I don't think I want to do that. I don't think I want to brush seal it, but... And it's really not for the final coat. It's for like the intermediate coat that I put the wash on afterwards. I don't know. It's worth trying on something that I have extras of. And the only reason I have extras of them because I bought them, I bought 3 of those things. They're going to be up for the UN or something like that. Man, we're filling up this case fast. That's what it's for. And then when I run out of space, I don't know what we'll do, but I'm not getting tired of painting these things. Even though we haven't played since January. Honestly, the playing really isn't the objective for me. It's doing this. Yeah, I would be perfectly happy using spray cans for clear coat. Just the spray can brand I used got discontinued. There's no more Model Master. I never complained about Model Master. There's that video that I use the Model Master spray paint that whatever it's called, how I clear coat my miniatures or whatever. I did 6 or 7 years ago, whatever. It was even raining. It was in the garage. And it was even raining outside. No frosting or nothing. Worked great. Rust-Oleum bought that company and it went to shit. I didn't care that the spray cans were like almost $8 a piece. Whatever, you don't go through that much of it. Now, the other thing I'm willing to try is clear coating them in enamel. But only to clear coat. But then I'd have to use another airbrush. I don't want to run acrylic through. I'm going to keep my one airbrush. And I don't know that I'm going to do that. I said I haven't encountered any issues handling it, but like this white one I just did, it's got pieces where like the undercoat is kind of crumbly. It's fine, it works with it, but it's like, man, I wasn't expecting that. It's not like, we're mistreating it or anything. Yeah, see how much better it looks when you paint it black? Because when you have this color, all right, we got black things, we got yellow, we got green, and now we got gray. Like it's going in too many directions. Like there's not a theme going on, You don't use old cans. I try to use them as I go until they run out. They're a lot more expensive than they used to be. Yeah, I tried buying Krylon. Krylon is crap. Just crap. You get a can this big that costs the same as a little one. You're like, oh, it's awesome. You use a third, it starts gumming up. You waste a lot. And it's not like, oh, it's costing me money. You waste a lot. Guess where it goes? In the fucking air where you're breathing it. Even with the garage with the fan going, like you stink up the whole fucking garage. So, I don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I had this little guy waiting a long time. All right, it's time to take a pee break, get more tea, so that I can take another pee break. Be right back. Now, I've never had an issue with frosting, but I've always kept the spray cans in the place where they get sprayed. So in other words, I spray in the garage. The spray cans stay in the garage. There's no point in bringing them in here. And I don't know whether that's the issue that people had, whether they're used to being at 71 degrees, and you bring them outside to spray them, and the fluid in there is at 71 degrees, and you spray it, and it's 98 outside, and it condenses in midair. I would think that would be an issue. I've never had it happen, ever. But why am I'm never going to spray in here. Why are they even in here? Just keep them out there. I didn't do it on purpose. It's not like, oh shit, I had a bad experience. Well, we can't do that anymore. I'm like, it just kind of happened. And I'm trying to put two and two together. Where's my glasses? I try to put two and two together why so many people were having issues with it. And it's like, oh, you just don't live in Florida. Look, I live in a really humid place, and I sprayed them while it was raining outside. So, given you can have an issue with old cans, but don't bring the cans inside. I don't see any advantage. It's not going to go. It's not going to work better with it changing temperature. I can tell you that much. Yeah, we were able to paint that just fine where it is. Now, I would not paint a Union Jack on the roof, and the reason I wouldn't do that is because I already have a Mini Cooper that does that. And I don't know if I'm going to actually do that or not. Probably not, now that I think about it. You just got a PDF of On Guard. Send me one. It's good, man. That's what the internet is good. We share information, Nobody's got all the answers. I'm gonna try to remember to do that, to listen to that radio drama when I go to Tampa next Friday. But I'm probably gonna forget and continue listening to Dan Carlin's Alexander thing. Or right now he's like fighting the Illyrians or something like that. It makes it sound, oh, this guy's really good and he's really. That's like saying, okay, the Wehrmacht was awesome that they took out like freaking Denmark in 6 hours. So you just compare yourself to Denmark. You know, it's like. You know, the brilliance things don't count until you're like fighting somebody worth a damn. You know. Item update. No. Now you look at something on eBay, and the next thing you know, hey, there's this thing you were looking at. I'm like, I'm just surfing, man. You know. Okay, so I don't know where it is. I bet I could find it, although it may be unbuilt. And I like using ChatGPT for stuff, but I still like the final say. I'm not an idiot. I'm not an idiot about naming things. I may be an idiot about other things, but I'm fairly sharp about that. I've got an off-road Beetle that looks like a Beetle, and I'm going to make it Beetle Bailey, and I'm going to make it look military-like. You know, it's going to have a white star or something like that. I'm probably going to hand paint the star or whatever. You don't know who Beetle Bailey is. He's a stupid comic book character. I know I got one of these. He's probably down here in the bottom in the generics. And it may even be a Matchbox. Now that I think about this, the bloody Germans. Yeah, now you can pull these things out, and as long as you keep them in the same containers, you're not really hurting anything. What's in here? Ah, the nips. Sorry, and other Asians. Okay, these are Doom dudes. I don't know why they're not all together. Yeah, this guy right here. We're probably gonna make this Beetle Bailey. Because it's a beetle. Yeah, these are Doom dudes. Let's put them with the other ones. We'll use the same container. Yeah, this one that says Jungle Whip, I'm probably going to keep Jungle Whip on it, and we'll probably call this like Whiplash or something like that. It won't actually have a whip, it's just part of the name. I could save a lot of space by just taking these guys out of the package. I didn't remember what that would look like. I was thinking about it. Oh, Beetle Bailey, yeah. You sent it. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, there was that document. That looked shady. Female companionship. You can add one for, little boy mentorship or whatever they call it. There was a name for it. They had it in, where like Socrates could, or whoever, Socrates. I get Socrates, Plato, and the other guy mixed up. Aristotle. Aristotle's the one that taught Alexander, I think. Birth table, father's position. Yeah, this is cool. I mean, I'm sure you'll find some good use out of it. You got to read it when you wake up. Well, hopefully it doesn't put you back to sleep. See, I wouldn't be any good at that. I'm not good at like reading something by myself. I would have to like, all right, I want to read this, so let me read it online with you guys kind of listening. I'd have to do that. You know, they all did it. You mean Socrates and Plato and yeah, they'd have like a little kid attendant, like learn from a smart guy, and who knows if he touches you inappropriately along the way. I'm not condoning that. And trust me, I'm not fucking condoning that, but But they would do stuff like that. Like the Spartans would be like, right, they'd go into combat and they're like, well, I'm kind of horny. Well, I'm around a bunch of dudes. Well, I guess that'll work. And then it's like, it's not like, well, why don't you just wait till you get back home, It's like, oh, this will work. Like, dude, man. Relationships of convenience. This takes a little longer than it should, but whatever. The important thing is to do a good job with it so that way you don't have to go back and touch anything up. This is a hell of a lot quicker than using like actual mesh. Like this mesh, like aluminum. Oh my god, this is a nightmare. Because as you're pulling the stuff off, like look, I literally just pulled a strand of it off. And like it's like it's not welded properly. It's like this just is frustrating as hell. That putting that on yellow bastard took forever. I'm like, I gotta find something better. Okay, that's good. None of that light gray showing. Got a Game Vanguard going weeks from now. How many people would we need? Full tilt. I have no idea. I have no idea. I think that if you have a bunch of people, if you have a lot of people that don't know what they're doing, it's not going to be, very satisfying. Full tilt. ¿Qué es eso? Full tilt game. A jousting minigame? Interesting. The rules originally from White Dwarf 125 are a free download. Players use a deck of cards to select jousting ploys and roll a d6. That reminds me of one of the first games that I played on my phone. It was probably my Note. It was probably my Samsung Note 2. I think it was a Note 2. And it was some jousting game. One of those that, you got to play to win. You play to buy shit for free. I'm like, I ain't spending real money on it. And it looked pretty good, but it ended up being really repetitive. Requires 3 mounted knight models per player, a deck of cards, a d6, and a game area. Interesting. Never heard of it. Naming a knight, sky's the limit there, That wouldn't be a very popular game because so many people now in a fantasy setting don't like playing human knights. And you give this person a fantasy setting, that's who I want to play. Or a conquistador, or some fucker like that. That's who I want to play. Some guy is super haughty. You mean he's a hottie? No, haughty. Haughy. Full of himself. Thinks he's better than everybody else. That's who I want to play. Guaranteed. That's who I played when I was playing, what was that game? The one with the Hero Quest. Like, you guys got a knight? Yeah, human knight. That's me. I'm taking him. Big fan of human knights. Oh, you don't want to play a wizard? Wizard doesn't have a coat of arms. You got powders and shit like that. Fuck that. Actually, I don't like how knights behave in DVA, but I like the idea of it. And they look badass. I mean, who doesn't, who doesn't like that? Surprise Games Workshop that did it. To be like, okay, well, you can have a knight that's like a third ogre, a third merman, and a third twit. Okay, I think we're done with the blackness. You know what 8? Yeah, I'm not stripping the cars today. That's a lot of work. It's starting it late. So, what else can we continue doing? Because I'm not ready. That needs to dry before I can do anything else. This guy, technically, I could build stuff on here, and then we can clear coat it later. But I don't think I've got... I don't think I have a weapon in my inventory that would be appropriate to be back there. I don't think I do. Well, let's see. Let's take a look. Byzantine 6 Cavalry. Cool. Byzantines look really, really cool. Pedro Roque. What's up? Really enjoy my DBA videos. Well, there's no more, unfortunately. Thank you. We enjoyed making them. I'd still be doing them if I still played DBA, but I played for 18 years. You know? I don't hate the game. It's just like I just can't do it. It's keeping me from doing other things, and I wanted to move on. All right, we need something that goes in the back of that thing that's not a. Oh, I could work on Rick's car. And here's those British guns. Only thing I have, I don't have any like mini guns that are like freestanding. Oh, I have this. I don't want to use this on that, but I'll pull it out because it'll probably look cool. Well, because it's freaking awesome looking. This thing is awesome looking. Yeah, we'd have to build something out of wood to put it back here. It's like it almost looks like a Super Sherman turret. But I do have a weapon here that is like a pencil mount that might actually look all right there. I don't think anybody's accepted the challenge and made any other DBA videos, have they? Honestly, I haven't looked. But they're not difficult to do. Even an idiot like me can do them. I'm not a video guy. My skill set is this, not making videos. You know, I do videos because they're easy to do. Other people can enjoy them, and they don't cost me any extra work. And I really started doing it because so many coincidental things happen that are just unbelievable that it's a shame to not film them. Because you think some of the stuff you think would be staged. You know, the odds of something happening and then it does happen is just like ridiculous sometimes. You're an ex-DBM and an actual Art de la Guerre player, but looking for DBA is a more fast, easy, less footprint game. Yeah, I would love to play DBMM, but not now. It's a great game, you know. It just couldn't get people to show up to play the game. So I'm like literally holding myself back from doing everything else for a bunch of no-shows. You get 4 or 6 people or whatever, but it's like, there's other stuff I want to do. Yeah, I can certainly close that up. It needs like somebody like on a, you know, give them hell, Frank, or something like that. I think they made it in here now. I mean, I need a purpose for the bed. I don't want to just have a bed with a skateboard there. Like, you know, I don't want to have a load that has like nothing there. So maybe I need to just punt on this guy. We'll do it soon. It's just not something speaking of. And I don't want to sit there and do. I've got these rockets, but You know, I mean, I've used them every time. There's nothing wrong with them, but it's like more of the same. All right. Did we run our mouth enough that we can continue this? Yes, perfect. I don't like to hop around. I'd rather finish something all the way through, but there's this thing called drying time, which is funny because it was never an issue with DBA. When I was painting DBA stuff, never had to wait on something. I mean, unless it was like the primer or the clear coat at the end. You could just slap colors on top of other colors and it wasn't an issue because you're painting so thin and things like that. All right. We're going to do the same thing. We can get rid of this. We're going to use the tin bits, the rough iron from Army Painter. ¿Dónde está? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Here. Okay. And we're going to give these mesh thingies that coating of that. Yep, these are the super readers. No, and like I said, I told everybody, I said, listen, I'm not going to play DBA anymore. But I don't really have anything ugly to say about it. We enjoyed playing it a lot. Some people still do. I'm not going to take the videos down. You know, do I pet any crew in the car? So, you know, I've painted a lot of figures, and I'm pro painting figures. I think my vehicles look pretty damn good. My figures will look even better than the vehicles because I've got decades of painting figures. There just aren't very many figures that... So the only figures I have by there's one manufacturer called Stan Johansson. He used to be one of the guys that used to be a vendor at one of our shows. Used to be because he passed away last August. So they're in very limited supply, the figures I have. So if I don't have to put figures in them, I won't. And it's only because there's very limited availability of the figures. Now, lots of people make them. There's just a lot of people make figures that I don't really care for. Unlike 15 millimeter figures, which I like damn near everyone and every brand, whether it's even old things like a regular minifigs, big fan of minifigs, Essex guys, you know, it doesn't have to be the latest and the greatest. It can be, lots of people make 15 millimeter figures that are interchangeable with each other, and I like painting them, and I actually get a thrill out of painting figures that are, let's say, subpar. They turn out just fine. But with the 20 millimeter racing figures, there just aren't that many. So I'm not putting crews in them because either you wouldn't see them or, you know. Now, I didn't start off with that mindset because I had a supply of figures. Even though Stan Johansson doesn't make a ton of stuff, let me show you Hippie-Ki-Yay. Hippie-Ki-Yay was one of the, it might have been like the second vehicle I made, okay? And we can't paint vehicles like this anymore because I'm not going to live forever. And I basically need to live forever to paint them this way. It's got a layering technique. The weathering is not done in, it's done a lot slower. This thing's probably took 30 hours to do, this vehicle. So this guy had, nope, not him, the other guy. Where is that guy? Oh, that guy is from, oh, this guy. This is another vehicle that has it, Mud Puppy. Mud Puppy is a completely stripped vehicle, repainted, with a crew. And it's an exaggerated Bronco. And I'll show you some screenshots with my phone. Now, I can't glue this missile launcher on it because in order to do that, then I can't touch the crew. And these actually, both of these guys kind of go in there. There's a driver shooting a pistol. And the only reason he's in there is because, well, you got to show somebody. Otherwise, it looks like there's nobody at the wheel. But it's all done with a layering technique that looks great but takes forever. And I painted these guys before. I was doing DBA, and then I did some of these guys when the rules came out. And then when I stopped doing DBA, I did tanks. And doing tanks really helped me find a way to paint these things. I know, clear lens. Let me show you a picture of this and you'll see what I'm talking about. And it doesn't look bad. It just, I'd never get anything done. So let's take a look at the hood of this vehicle. You know, that light blue probably has 7 different shades in it. Starting dark, lightening itself up. The same way I painted DVA stuff. Like, I'd never get done. You know, this thing looks awesome, but it's like, okay, it's one vehicle. You know, stripping it alone is like generally not worth it. Let me show you Hippie-Ki-Yay. Hippie-Ki-Yay is an exaggerated microbus, repainted. Peace. Look at this happy little flower. That part's easy. Like the flower and the piece, that's easy. It's discoloration. It just takes forever. You know, like nobody can appreciate it. I mean, I appreciate you appreciating it, but it's like, you know, I gotta find a better way to do it. I painted one car for my wife for an anniversary just because it'd be kind of cool. And I spent probably 40 hours on it. Like, I can't, you know, I just can't justify doing that. Let me show you the tarp here. Nope, it's blurry. Come on. I'm not a good picture taker. Okay, look at this tarp. And you can see, let's kill this, how it has the different layers of that color. It just takes forever. It's not an unpleasant thing. All of it is like pleasurable. It just takes a long fucking time, you know. And there's love on the side painted on the side of this thing. There's a little love symbol. What's on this side? More love. This cute little peace sign here. Cute. It's a little blurry because I don't know how to take pictures. But I'm like, if I want more vehicles, and I want more vehicles, you know, so in here, we did the mesh that old style way. There's a driver here called Herb. And let me see if I can get a good photo of him. I love painting figures. And I love painting faces. I didn't used to. When I was doing 1/35th scale models in the early 90s, I didn't. I'd never painted tie-dye before. So I'm like, I got to figure out how to paint tie-dye. Let's see if I can get this to... It's too much. It's too shiny. You know, and I've got a screen protector on it, so it ain't great. It's easy. Your faces... You know, the sculptor has a hard job. I'm just painting by numbers. I know I'm selling myself short, but, you know, I've done it hundreds of times. It's easy. You know, it's easy to reproduce it. So, yeah, I do have crews, but there's just a limit on how many crews. This whole thing was stripped and repainted. It's not worth it. You know, right now, I'm basically turning out a new vehicle every other day. And one of the things is, like, some of these vehicles just look too beautiful. Like, this one didn't, okay? I repainted it. But some vehicles just have stripes and stuff that's like, it's just a shame to ruin that. So, work with it, you know? But I had every intention to put crews on them. They're just very limited. And there's lots of people that make 3D crews, but there's lots of them I don't like. I just don't like the style that they've done it. It's a shame he's hiding inside the... Yeah, but that's why that vehicle isn't closed up, right? Because if he's closed up and he's glued in there, you can't see him, you know? As I originally was going to come up with names for the cars and names for the crew members. Not that it makes any difference in the game, but it's just fluff. It's storyline stuff. But I'm like, man, there just aren't very many people that make. I don't want to cannibalize my World War II figures and use them for drivers. I don't want to do that. So, all right, 10 bits. 10 bits it is. But how long have I stopped playing DBA? I haven't played DBA since September 2022. And the guys in my group haven't put out a single video. So either they don't care. I get it. They just want to play with the people that they're with. And I'm like, I want other people around the world to enjoy this game so that the tens of thousands of hours that I've spent painting my armies, and I'm not exaggerating, it's definitely tens of thousands of armies painting them, the game doesn't disappear. That was really my first reason to play the game. I don't want, I don't want nobody to know about this game or look at the rule book and go, this is insane. So let's just film our games. I don't mind doing it. It provides pretty interesting narrative. Almost every game is a close match. Let's do that. And then it just got to the point where it was like nobody was showing up to the show. We have a core of like 12 or 14 people, but like one guy wouldn't show up for some reason, one wouldn't show up for another. So you're like 6 or 8 guys, and like everything else I want to do, I'm not allowing myself to do because it takes me 6 months to get an army done. I mean, it's awesome, but like the army is done. I can't like, oh, let me build another car for another game. I can't. Then the other thing doesn't get finished. And the drive for me is like, I want to build a new army so I can play new games, so I can do new videos with them. And it's just so involved and it's a lot of the same thing over and over again. Whereas here it's like, let me paint a white vehicle. Let me do a tank. Let me do a helicopter, So that's why I could never play like DBM or DBMM. It's like, okay, even more stands of the same army. But I don't remember how regularly I was painting stuff for DBA. I don't think I was painting as regularly as I am now. I'm painting really regularly. But before I was doing it, okay, we need to get armies down. Now I'm like, I need to paint to stress relief. Because work is just a fucking madhouse. So that's my this is my alcoholism, right? I basically don't drink alcohol. This is my this is my Zen moment doing this. So it ran its course. I'm not a very nomadic person. Like, people jumping from side. I couldn't tell you how many people in our group like got really interested in DBA. Oh, I love this. You'd never see them again. Or you'd see them for a couple of years and they'd disappear. So nobody could believe, oh, you'll play DBA again. Well, I'm a man of my word. Like I say, I ain't going to fucking do something, I'm not going to do it. Just because everybody else wants to be a politician and a liar, those are things I'm not. So, have you heard of Field of Glory? It's basically drew me out of ancient. I have it on computer. It's a decent game. You've never seen a DBA game finish. Yeah. There's things about Field of Glory that are better than DBA. And there's things that aren't. Like, I don't like the fact that there's no general. Like a general stand. And I don't like that, at least on the computer, there's no pips. You can move every time. That's one of the things about DB. Now, I like that there's ammunition for the shooting. I like the morale system that they have. There's a lot of things that... And I already know how to play I knew how to play the game immediately, but I was like, video games are good for inspiring hands-on creativity for me. Video games they don't solve stress issues. They're fun, but, Art de la guerre, the French rules. Yeah. Okay, so now this has a coating of we call the tin bit. So that's going to have this underlayer of corrosion. Because what we want to do is like, look, this was a real vehicle. Okay, in my world, this was a real vehicle that they want to turn into a weapon of war. So what do they do? Okay, let's add mesh and stuff with it. Well, who's going to add mesh to it? People that have basic welding skills. So they're not going to be able to prime this really well. And, even though they kind of color match it, they're going to do kind of a shitty job at it. But I want it to kind of be blended with the so it all looks like together, like this guy right here. Okay. Now this one is what are we calling this one? All whitey then, right? It's predominantly white. And I'm getting close on 100 vehicles, and a fuck ton of tanks, just a shitload of tanks. But I'll be honest with you, the World War II game is a bit too much effort to play. I need to retire. I mean, my workload needs to just like it's not it's not worth it. So tabletop version of Fleet of Glory is too many miniatures for me. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to paint 500 miniatures, you might as well have multiple armies. Not like Romans, more Romans. Like, mix it up a little bit, Paint something a little bit different. You don't want to get burned out on that game and never doing knights or never doing Asian armies or never doing, stuff in Africa or. It's all interesting. Except that King Arthur army. This is probably the last army I would have. The Arthurian British Army. It's like it could be all bullshit. Like, Phil has an entire page devoted to the backstory of that. He's got like a fetish for that. I get it that you want to be patriotic, but man, there's got to be better heroes than that. Do Longshanks or somebody. Never got around to doing that army. I love heraldry stuff. Love it. And there at the end, I was actually working on making an enhanced version of DVA. Not for sale or anything, just for our own consumption. But it was so difficult to fucking coordinate who was going to come over to play. Like, that's... I got a good group of guys, but man, they can't fucking plan their way out of a paper bag. Like, it's not like you have to commit 2 weeks in advance. Just like, tell me the day before, are you coming? And how many people are coming? Because like, let's say you're working on rules, and you're like, okay, we got this down, let's go to the next step. But you got new players, you don't want to like get their input on new things. We want to kind of teach them it was just impossible. And I can't deal with that kind of change on my own free time. As a matter of fact, this week, we're going to play, I emailed, here's my confession. I emailed Mitch. I said, on Tuesday morning, I said, hey, you got any plans tonight? Because I didn't think it was the week that somebody comes over out of town. He's like, and he says his response was, yeah, we're playing Gaslands. I'm like, cool. I'll put a game together. How many people have it? This is like at 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. I wasn't planning on going. I had a big cancellation at work that basically meant my day wasn't going to be as stressful and I was going to be able to leave at a decent time. So I'm like, hey, how many people? I said, oh, just you and me. Okay, so I, in my free time at lunch, designed what it was going to be and everything. I said, okay, well, I got to go vote because we had a local election. I'm going to go vote, round up all the stuff, and I'll be over there. So I was running behind. Traffic was crazy. I wanted to go vote. It was hot as fuck, everything. I'm packaging everything up, and I get a text at like a time that I should have already been out there saying, so-and-so's coming all of a sudden. And I'm like, why don't you fucking tell me, like, like all of a sudden, like somebody just up and they're going to show up. And this is somebody that's got to drive like an hour and a half to get there. And like, I hadn't even started packing. I was trying to get the sheets all together, And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, change of plans. I'm not coming. I'm like, I'm doing all the heavy lifting. I'm working on that day. I'm exhausted from work, solving all kinds of problems. Both people that are playing either don't work on that day or are retired. I'm like, I'm driving myself fucking crazy just for people that don't have the decency to tell. I mean, if you told me at the beginning of the day, like, that's fine. I'll design a game that works with 3 people. No problem. It's not like I don't want to play with the guy. He's a nice guy, but it's like, dude, you're sitting around with nothing to fucking do. Have some fucking decency. So I'm like, if that's how it's going to be, I'm not going to play with those people. Like, I'm not going to go over there and deal with an 85-degree room. Like, fuck it. I'm enjoying this. Provides the therapy for it. I'm like, whenever I feel like putting on a game here, I'll tell them this is what it is. But it's like, I'm tired of jumping through hoops on a day, on somebody's workload that's really, like, don't have a lot of workload. I'm like, sorry to vent, but that's the fucking truth, And I got a great group they're great people, and they have the right attitude, but it's like, I need to find a gaming group of people that are, like, over fucking worked. And they don't understand because they're not creative. They don't understand that this is the therapy. This is what makes you feel good, accomplishing things and having interaction with painting and things like that. Not playing the game. I could play a fucking video game, We could play, what's that thing called? Easy Red or whatever, if it's just about gaming, So, that's happened way too many times. Like, you don't have to plan. Just like, look, it's coming up. What's happening? Just tell me the morning of. And stick with it. I mean, look, if your car breaks down or if somebody's in the hospital, I get it. Shit happens. But not like all of a sudden, hey, let's change plans. Because that's what happens to me on a daily basis at work. And it isn't fucking worth it. Even when you're getting paid. So I'm certainly not willing to relive any of that shit for free on my own time. So, anyways, I've said my piece, but I'm tired of jumping through flaming hoops for people that are underworked and brag about being underworked. Okay, enough talk. Wind me up. I wound myself up. I get you. For me, painting is 85% of the fun. Yeah, it just becomes not worth it. And all those people over the years, they're great to play games with. There's nothing against them, and they have great sportsmanship, and the camaraderie is there. But none of them promoted DBA. None of them that got on Fanaticus or on all the DBA pages and posted things and results. And I was the one doing all the heavy lifting. And when I stopped doing it, guess what happened? Nobody posted all that shit. Instead of like, all right, well, I mean, if Tony could do it, and Tony's not that smart, and I'm not a technology guy. I'm not stupid, but I'm not a technology guy. My smarts are here doing this stuff, But it's like, oh, well, if you're not going to do it, we're not going to do it at all. I'm like, okay, no, fine. You like designing the game, painting is second, and playing is third. Also overworked, that's where fast-paced games come in handy. Absolutely. Yeah, it's overworked and nothing, and no end in sight. 12, 13 years from now. I'm not going to be one of those people. It's like, well, I got to work a part-time job because I'm bored. This fucker isn't bored. Especially if you guys are going to come in here and interact with me. Let's do it, man. Let's kick some ass together, Let's bring up topics that'll, maybe find out about On Guard and stuff like that, This is all good. This is like pure happiness. And cheap, too. So I'm probably not going to go to another convention again. Because, I'm not going to play this there. You know, I'm not going to let. I don't mind other people use my stuff, but it's people that I've vetted, not just random people walking by that ham fist stuff and make you know play at the house. And if I don't want you to play, I won't tell you where I fucking live. And this is a stand your ground state, so get the hell off my property. No, it won't come to that, but it's just like there's some people that are. There's one person in particular at the War Games show that I'm never going to play a game with them. They're not anybody you've seen on a video. They're not you know, but I don't ever want to interact with them again. They're negative, 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 negative all the time about everything. It's like, what, go fly a kite up your ass. And no, it's not Larry. He doesn't play anymore. I'm not going to deal with it. On the weekends, I'm like, I don't like that. So what do? I don't go deal with that. I go this way. Not like you have to confront me. I'm not dealing with that shit. And it's a lot of money. Like, okay, let's put this into perspective, right? I've only been collecting Gaslands, say, since September. I've completed roughly 100 cars. I have about roughly 400 that I purchased, not for a lot of money, but for about 400 cars to do in a short span of time. The money that I have spent on the vehicles is equivalent to one weekend at our small convention in Orlando. Between eating and staying at the hotel, like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And it's not that I have a bad time or I don't enjoy interacting with the guys, but it's like, I'm going to go to the weekend and my only interaction is to like go out to eat with them, like lunch and dinner. And like, that's it. I don't care about any of the other games. I'm not going to play DBA. I rarely find something that I'm interested in playing at the convention. I mean, last convention I went to, I spent the whole time playing Hero Quest. And I had a pretty good time, but it wasn't cost effective. It didn't make sense. Like, is that really worth a couple $100? No. So, I don't think I'm going to go to another con. And it's like once you miss one, like they had that one con, they made a big stink about wearing a mask and all that shit, and then at the end of the day, it wasn't a big deal. Like, I'm not going to the con. I'm not going to go play a game and wear a mask. I'm also not going to be like, well, I'm not going to wear one. Like, what are the rules? And I either agree with them or I don't. I don't agree with them. I didn't go. And once you miss a con, you're like, fuck it. I mean, I went to Historicon 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. The code, it happened. And they canceled it. I'm like, all right, well, this is kind of a reset. I went to 2 more after that, and I'm like, people aren't going to show up to play DBA. Why am I using that many days off and the cost for the sake of other people who aren't willing to travel an hour to go to this show? I'm like, I'm done, And it's not like I had a crappy time any day. It was just like, you have to kind of weigh all those things, So, yeah, taking off like 4 days for that. That's a pretty big percentage of my days off. I don't get that many days off, and I've been at this place for over 30 years. And I've been maxed out on days off for decades. Not decades, over a decade. Probably 15 years or something like that. Well, why do you work there? Because it pays the bills, And unless I'm going to go work in a different industry, it's going to be the same bullshit somewhere else. Well, might as well stick with the bullshit I know. So anyway, all those things are things you got to consider. All factors into decisions. And I'd say probably the icing on the cake is this guy that disappeared for 15 years. He He was a major influencer. He was one of the two pushers of DBA when I started. And he had personal issues. Something happened. He disappeared for 15 fucking years. Just disappeared. Didn't know anything about him. He came back in. He came back in right at the time where I was getting disenchanted with it. I was not really disenchanted with the game, disenchanted with the way other people behave. And he's like, oh, we got to get more people in DBA. I said, dude, we've been trying. I mean, we went from having 1 or 2 games a session to having a DBA game in every session. You know, because that's all we want to do. Want to play DBA. I built a new army. I spent 6 months playing an army. I want to play it, right? Otherwise, why did I bother playing it? So, you know, we expanded everything completely, you know, promoting it on Fanaticus, putting the results there, doing all this stuff, all the YouTube content that we had. And he came in and like, you guys got to do more. Well, where the fuck have you been in a decade and a half? And it's like, look, we even have DBA videos. Like, what else do you want us to do? And he's like, so he wanted to take charge after disappearing a decade and a half. And he had the fucking audacity to say, oh, you have DBA videos on YouTube? Not only do we have DBA videos on YouTube, we have hundreds of DBA videos on YouTube, each with at least 3 to 6 battles on them. I'm like, you know what? You fucking run with it. I'm done. I'm done. You know, it doesn't pay enough. And ever since then, they haven't put any scores of anything on all the other stuff. I was like overworked trying to keep drumming up. It's just not worth it, you know? It's not worth it. Yeah, it's one thing to do something, but it's like if it's not appreciated, like, I mean, I appreciate it. And there's people that are really interested in DBA, but they're all over the world, you know, to make this community, you know? But. So, and then like, okay, something would come up in our game. So I was on the frequently asked questions group for DBA. So I'd bring it up to the committee. And in typical committee, which I don't like words that start with C-O-M to begin with, especially a double M, okay? They couldn't make a fucking decision. Like, look, I don't have a horse in this race. I just don't want to. This issue came up. We don't know how it should be resolved, and we don't want it to be self-perpetrating. So when it does come up, we have to undo all this stuff, or maybe we did a bunch of videos that wasn't the way it was intended, and they couldn't come up with a decision. So I'm like, you know, I'm not ever going to play a game that I have to play it a certain way because it says in the rule book, because sometimes there's just things that don't make sense, you know? Or you bring it up to a committee and they can't make a decision. It's like, I don't like political crap, you know? I'm here to have a good time, have a good narrative, but I don't want to steer people the wrong freaking way either, you know? And it's like, life's too short for, you know, things that don't make sense. If you're playing a game and something doesn't make sense, you know, it's not like I'm changing shit just for the point in changing it. We'll play it. If it doesn't make sense to any of us, the way we're playing it, look, the game just has to be important for us, you know? It doesn't really matter for anybody else, you know? I'm not promoting whatever the name of this gentleman's rule set for Gaslands. It's a great rule set. I don't like the world he created. That's fine. He even says in the rule book, you can create your other world. You know, I think that the reality that we have, with pseudo-reality that we have now in this world is interesting. I don't need Mars or any of that shit, you know. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna have a German team that runs German cars, Italian team that runs Italian cars, a French team that runs French cars, etc. You know, that makes sense to me. Guys that, you know, use doom buggies, urban brothers that are, you know, and they're all, every one of these teams are all criminals. You know, that's just how I want to do it. You know, rednecks, you know, and so forth. And, you know, having a hell of a lot of fun with it. But I don't hate DBA. And I'm not saying you accuse me of hating DBA, but that's not why I didn't do it. It's just like, I'm killing myself, and it's not getting any bigger. It's not, and I'm sure that maybe my videos helped a lot of people figure, you know, things out, because it's the most difficult game I've ever played in my entire life, because it's abstract, and I'm not an abstract thinker. I don't I don't think that way. I'm a percentile base, first this, then this. Not like, well, this, unless it's a Tuesday, but you're wearing purple shoes. But the purple shoes are this kind of purple, and it's actually a Tuesday that's the third week of, yeah, it's like, I like all that detail, but you forget things while you're doing it, and it's frustrating to forget things, and it's definitely fun that it's multifaceted, but it gets too complicated. It just gets so I would love to play something like Art de la Guerre and DBMM, but it almost needs to be computer moderated so you don't miss something. And I played Advanced Squad Leader. Advanced Squad Leader is infinitely easier than DBA. DBA is just abstract as hell. At ASL, you would come up across something and you're like, I don't know what the rule is. Well, it's probably this. And then later on, you'd find it and you made the right call. DBA, 50% chance of what you think probably is not the way it is. It just doesn't, it doesn't. Phil is a smart guy. He's a brilliant guy, but his way of thinking and mine aren't compatible. I'm not saying he's an idiot or I'm smarter than him. I'm just like, he explains, the rules are written in a way that I would not have written them in. I'm a bullet point, not narrative. So. But he's a brilliant guy, I just wouldn't have written him that way. But it's a great set of rules. I wouldn't have played it for 18 years. And no, my armies aren't for sale. They're hidden up there. The girls can do whatever the hell they want with them. It's artwork, It's artwork. And I could say I learned a lot of history along the way, but I was always a big history person. I learned a lot of military history along the way. So, But I thought for sure the guys would be like, oh, we could continue doing the videos. No interest in it. No interest, so. And I got really tired of people that, because that's the thing about the internet. The internet gives everybody an equal voice, and it shouldn't. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to disenfranchise anybody, but somebody who's played the game 1,000 times knows more what he's talking about. I mean, unless he absolutely played it wrong, right? Knows more what he's talking about than somebody that's read the rule book once. And there's people, the internet gives everybody a voice, and some people are out there to cause chaos. They're purveyors of chaos. And that really takes the wind out of somebody's sails when they're trying to promote the game, make other people see that it's really a cool game system. So you'd have all these people that would, they would post things like, I just played this and I think this is what the rule is. And new players would see that and immediately, for whatever reason, think, oh, that guy's got a point. So you got all these lemmings that are like, they're getting pulled off of a cliff, into this wrong way of thinking. And it's just like, if you're putting out all these videos, you feel like you need to correct them because otherwise they're undoing everything that you're trying to get everybody to be on the same page so we can all understand it together. And it's just like, you know what? I'm done with that. I'm done with that. Have fun falling off the damn cliff. I don't care how you do it. It gets exhausting. So I won't put any Gaslands rules things like, there's a couple things that we do differently that just don't make any sense. But, it's a good rule set. But those days of you have to play it the way it's written, they're over. I'm not doing any tournaments. I'm not interested in running tournaments. I'm providing all the cars in scenarios that have a good narrative, and almost all the games have been really close. It's a fun game. So no more DBA videos. The only DBA videos I would do is maybe bring out one of my armies and talk, and I've only done that 3 or 4 times and talk about what figures I use, but Honestly, not enough people watch those. That's a lot of work for me. Not enough people watch those. And if you're going to do something that's why I don't do videos of what people recommend me doing. Because if I do something that I want to do, there's a reason I want to do it. Like maybe it motivates me to do something else, or it allows me to finish something while I'm doing it, or the motivation for it, or something like that. Or maybe it's a point I want to bring upon, or something like that. But if you do things that other people ask you to do, it's just human nature. You think, okay, well, I normally get 200 views doing this that I want. So if I'm doing suggestions, I should get more views. And if you don't, and it's quite likely that it may not happen, it really takes the wind out of your sail. And I'm doing all the heavy lifting. I'm like, I don't want to get discouraged doing that, So it's not that other people don't have, good ideas. It's like, I don't mind helping other people out, but it's like, man, it just gets to a point where you can only do so much, And I also never want to play a set of rules. It's like, I know this doesn't make any sense, but this is how much this is how it is. Well, if it doesn't make any sense, why are you playing it that way? Like, I don't want to live my life that way, It's like, like that whole business of skirmishers, because I can't call them the PS name. I vowed not to call them that again. I mean, unless you're playing something in Greece, right? If you're playing something in Greece, you can call them those things. You can call the skirmishers a Greek name, because that's literally what they are. That whole business of, well, I know they have range weapons, but they can't shoot at any range. Like, new players that blows their mind. That was one of the things I was going to change. Like, they could fire, they just had to fire in a threat zone or closer. Some kind of, so there'd be some visual representation of what's going on. It'd be like mounting guys on horses, but they move slower than heavy foot. Like, okay, I don't care what your reasoning is. That is a mind fuck for anybody playing the game, right? Like, you can't have that. That's like these vehicles. If it has rockets on it, the vehicle has rockets, because it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you could just build it another way. Like, I like what you see is what you get. It's bad enough that, it might have 2 rockets pictured and it gets 3 shots. Okay, that's bad enough, but at least you can see, okay, that looks like it has a ram. It probably has a ram. Ding, 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 ding. It does, But I don't want to put like spikes and shit on there and it doesn't matter. It's just too difficult to. There's no benefit to doing things like that. I mean, I've got hundreds of vehicles. I might as well design them a certain way, to play them a certain way, that forces you to I want to play a vehicle a different way. Build a different one. Design it differently. You're reading through On Guard. This is so cool. Do you remember joining a regiment? Yes. I haven't read that much about that part of the game. Yes, I did. And then you try to get a better regiment. I'm glad you're enjoying it. See, I occasionally have some good ideas. It wasn't my idea. It's like I designed the game. I'm just telling you, as a 16-year-old, I really liked it, And besides, you get to say stuff like, ha-ha! And things like that, which are always fun. And at the time, I don't remember anybody, French bashing it, because I got some friends. I don't think they've been in any videos, but I've got some people that are just they hate anything French. I'm like, why? That'd be like hating all of you have an encounter with somebody from the New York City, and you hate everybody in the United States. That's unfair. We all know the dickheads are in New York. That's why we left them up there. I had one DBA player. That's how I learned him. He came from another rule system here in Florida, and he's originally from New York. And he's a little rough around the edges, but he's a nice guy. But he was playing with people that were up there that were just dickheads to him. And it's like, no, you got to get around people that aren't trying to get you. We're not, I mean, yes, we're trying to win a game, but not being a dickhead in the process. I mean, it's like, and once he realized that, he's fine, Campaign sounds really fun. Yeah, it certainly does. And you don't need miniatures, even though the guy did supply them. Just some little enhancements here. I think we need to give this another. Wouldn't that be cool if I get 2 cars done tonight? Pretty cool. I mean, it's still pretty early. I actually got like 6.5 hours the last 2 nights. That's a lot for me, Okay, we have the little handles of both of those. We need to paint those in black. Okay. And I guess the next part is the weathering, and I could probably weather 2 cars at the same time. All right, I gotta go to little boy's room. I'll be right back. Okay. Let's get the weathering colors out here. Chocolate brown, chocolate, and U.S. field drab, and Iraqi sand. Oh, that's the bloody buff. No, this is Iraqi sand. Close but no cigar. That's probably when we start the evening, when you get both of these guys done. It just makes sense, I haven't weathered the whitey. Well, we're going to go really light on that because we want to keep it mostly white. All whitey then. But one of the coolest things about this, which was kind of accidental, is that, and I was saying this earlier, it forces you to go. It doesn't force you, but any place you go, there's availability of having something for the hobby, right? They have these things everywhere. Grocery store, and if you find one to buy, it's only $1. Like, it's not like, it's less than a soda, man. Soda's out of control. Like, an individual soda is, we're going to go heavier on the colors here, on this one. Soda is out of control. It's like I bought a one lone soda is like $2.50. I'm like, holy shit. They must have gotten like lawsuits that they have to pay off. It's like Starbucks. I know it's a waste of money, but it's vitamin for motivation, right? It's super expensive for just something really basic. Well, they gotta pay for that $60 million lawsuit where that jackhole spilled the coffee on themselves or the tea or whatever the hell it was and burned himself. The frivolous lawsuit never has to fucking work again just because I spilled something on me, Well, they got to make up that money somehow. They got to double the price of the coffee and make it more shittier. Soda's bad for the health. Well, everybody has their addiction. Diet soda for me. I know it's bad for you too. Well, I don't do drugs. I quit smoking a long time ago. What else you want me to be? Be a sainthood? No, I haven't bought like soda. I haven't bought a Coke Zero like for home in like a month. But worse than any of that is stress. Stress is worse than any of that shit. Well, maybe smoking is worse than that, but or like heavy drugs, Hot Wheels is healthy, it is. And it's cheap. It's like $1. And when you look at it, these little guys have a lot of detail that someone put in there. They have a lot of like little nooks and crannies that you get to paint. It's super neat. So stressful day at work, I come and do this. I don't go and have a freaking alcohol. If I can drink alcohol at work, okay, maybe that would work, okay? But after I'm not at work, like, I don't need to. I don't have hell waiting for me at home, Hot Wheels are like €2. Still cheap. Where do you live? France? Pedro Roque? France? Portugal? And I don't have a preference between any of the brands of these die casts. They're all good. They all have their merit. Yeah. Don't do too much with one color because you need to leave space for other colors. Okay. This one, because it's dark, we're adding a little bit more to it, so I have some depth. Portugal. Okay. The language that when I speak Spanish, you understand everything, and I don't understand anything you say. Well, maybe it's different in Portugal. my interaction with people from Brazil. I'll speak to them in Spanish and they know everything that I say and I don't understand what they say. Now if it's read, and I think it's because of the inflection. I don't know, the way it's broken up. It's like I ended up watching this show that was recommended to me. It was this mafia show in Italian called ¿cómo se llama? Gomorrah. And it's very good. It's a little slow start. The whole thing's in Italian. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll put subtitles on. I like foreign films because I don't hear well anyway, so I put subtitles on it. And I'll be able to pick up on it. I don't know what the hell they're saying. I can't make out a single... Because even though if they spelled it out, I would be able to read 75% of it. Because their accents are on different parts of the word, I didn't know what the hell they were saying. So... we have some Chinese stuff as well. Yeah, some of the... And the Chinese can make things that are really good if they want to. The problem is sometimes they don't want to. But they make things here that are crap too. So it's not like, it's all that. But well, I haven't gone to Portugal, but I finally got a chance to go to the... As people on here said, my country of origin. My great-grandfathers came from Spain. But I got to go to Spain... in, what would that be? Early 2025. I fucking loved it. I loved it. I could feel the history. I absolutely loved it. Because I love the United States, but the history here is trash. I'm just going to say it like that. It's fucking trash. Okay? I don't give a shit about any of the history here. It's not interesting. Spain was... spick-fucking-tacular. Spick-fucking-tacular. Unbelievable. Castles everywhere. Heraldry. Just amazing. Can't wait to go back. I could feel it in my soul. I could feel like I belong there. Yep. Aguilar is a hint. That's right. I was going to stop by the town where we're supposedly from, Aguilar de la Frontera, but we didn't have time for anything. So yeah, we spent 3 days, and my daughter in the spring of 25, she did a semester in Sevilla, which I cannot stand when people anglicize the name of that city, Seville. What the fuck? I mean, Sevilla. So we dropped her off. So in dropping her off, we've been trying to go to Europe forever. I didn't go to Europe until I was 53 freaking years old, right? And spent 4 days in Madrid. And then we went and hit. I'm like, I have a list of people. I mean, I gotta go to Segovia. I gotta go to Escorial. So we ended up going up there, hitting both of those. Went to Salamanca. We went to the town that was between them. I'm trying to think what it was. The walled city. Can't remember right now what it is. Had lunch there. Went to Salamanca. Spent a night in Salamanca. Came down the coast. That came down through the middle. The only thing that didn't go well was when we went to the place where the Roman ruins are on Merida. Merida was a clusterfuck. I'm like driving on this road, and I drive it, and people in Spain drive better than you do in the United States. Maybe not in Madrid, but everywhere else better. It was just, I was driving on streets that I'm like, I shouldn't be here. And you can drive on it just felt so, like, get me out of it. Went to Sevilla, we drove to Gibraltar, spent a night in Gibraltar, came up the coast, hit a hobby shop on the way to Malaga, went to Granada, Cordoba, and then spent the last couple days, and I can't wait to go back. There was a guy that I met that I was Facebook friends with. He drove up to meet me. It's like I've known him my whole life. I can't wait to go back. Zamora, no, we didn't get a chance to. Yeah, the roots are calling. It's impossible to take. We're overworked here in the United States. You just can't take time off. You know, just can't take. And you take the time off, and it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare to leave, and then somebody you leave everything done, and they ruin it for you, and it's a nightmare to get back. But at least it was worth it. I loved it. Loved it. Yeah, and I don't have any family there. We have an extremely small family. I said great-grandfathers came from Spain. They went to Cuba, where my grandfather and dad were born. And dad came over because of, the communism. So luckily I was not born there. But my dad had gone to Spain in the late 90s, early 2000s 3 times. And I couldn't go with him because I was at work. And I didn't enjoy traveling with my family. I enjoy traveling with my wife and daughter. They're awesome. We travel everywhere. Everything goes right. I travel with my parents. Everything goes sideways. So loved it. Can't wait to go back. It's better than I ever expected. The food was great. They're poisoning us here with food. That's what made me realize. In the United States, we're being poisoned by food. The food here is more expensive. It's shittier. The bread here makes you fat. And I mean, it's just, the olives are better here though. I know, it's going to blow your mind. We have better olives here. They taste better. Olive oil, better over there. And the bread, and what was those things? The thing that we love more than anything else. You see, you got my juices going. I can't wait to go back. Can we go tomorrow? Berenjena. The eggplant, the fried eggplant with the honey on top. Holy shit, that was good. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I go there and I felt like I belonged there. I was like, I tell everybody, it's like, yeah, I look more Spanish than the people that are over there. Oh, man. More tea. So the last army I bought, and I never painted it, I still have them. I don't think I'll do it for DBA. Maybe one day. I'm medieval Spanish in Granada. And I bought them at the last Historicon I went to. And I want to do a Portuguese army too, because the Portuguese army is fucking badass. Plus you get to do all the heraldry and all that kind of stuff, and some British units. English units. Yeah. The olives, the ones here have more taste. They're they don't have as much depth and flavor. The olive oil is a lot better, but the olives themselves, I could eat my weight in olives. I freaking love olives. I'm not saying they were bad. They were just, the ones we had here were better. They're prettier over there. Don't get me wrong. We had some olives that we had in Gibraltar that were just from a fucking painting. It was just unbelievable how pretty they were. But they were un poco desabrido. But if you ever visit Lisboa, I would love to make you a free tour. Well, yeah, I just don't know when I'm going to go back to Europe. It just took so damn long to get over there. Forget the cost. It's just time off, Maybe in 12 years when I'm retired, And I've been to Canada and been to Spain and Britain. And until I went to Spain, Britain, and Canada, I had never been to another country that... Because, see, one of the things is I don't want to live somewhere where you can't drink the tap water. That's like Central and South America. I couldn't live there. I couldn't live in somewhere that, is like that. But, I could live in Europe. I mean, I get it. I mean, I go there and I know more about their history than the people that are there, but there's ignorant people about history everywhere in the world. But I could feel it in my soul. I really could. It's just I've never experienced that before. Never experienced that. So it's good. My country of origin, yeah. I had this one guy that was on here all the time. He was from Poland. And I talked to him like we are back and forth. And he swears I'm Polish. Somewhere in there is Polish. I said, well, I do have green eyes, so it's possible that, we probably might have a common ancestor from a Visigoth, and they kind of came through there, so it's possible. He hasn't been on here in a while. Good guy. I like Britain too, except that driving on the wrong side of the road. That's bullshit. I'm never going to let them live that down. I can't handle that crap. That's just retarded. I tell them that even the British, even the French get it. Even the French understand to drive on the correct side of the road, right? Necio. Really light on this. Yeah, history of this country sucks. Or it's of a topic that doesn't interest me. Like American Civil War, and I say this all the time. I've never been interested in the American Civil War. Because, first of all, it's a time period where I don't like the uniforms or the hairstyles. My people weren't over here. We were over there, eating empanadas and taking siestas and picking olives, But we were wearing shoes, not like the Confederates. They didn't have any fucking shoes, right? So I don't have that whole tie-in of like, well, my grandfather on my mother's side, twice removed, was a colonel in this regiment, and the other one, the other side, they were on the opposite. Like, I don't care about that. Not my problem, Not my problem. I think my dad said at one time that great grandfather or something like that, when he was in Spain, he was like a colonel in the army. I don't know who he was. I don't, we didn't have all those answers, and my mom was an only child and my dad was an only child. I mean, I guess you could figure that stuff out, but sometimes it's better not to dig too much because you might find out you're related to somebody you don't want to be related to. So you can just kind of live in this fantasy land of what you think you are. Come to find out you're related to some kind of terrorist or something back then. It's like, it's better not to know, but using an extreme example, but I loved Europe. Loved it. I'm sure it's got its problems, like, anything else. I lost weight. I was walking freaking 20,000 steps a day. That's what we need. But, if you're walking, so here's the difference about the United States. I don't know if you've been to the United States. If you're walking, I live in a suburbia area. So, if I wanted to walk to the grocery store, I'm kind of walking, where there's just traffic. I mean, it's not dangerous, but it's like, what are you doing there? Like, if somebody's walking on the side of the road to the grocery store, which is about, say, a mile away, the only people that are doing that don't have a car, or their car broke down, or they're not well, or, they have issues, right? You go to Europe, people like me are walking with their family, and, it's not a problem. You go walk at night, we were walking, or we'd go out to eat somewhere in Sevilla, and there's so many lights at night, it's like almost brighter than daytime. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's safe, Now, the one thing I absolutely don't like, and I thought the siesta was going to be a problem. It wasn't, okay? The big problem is having eat your meal late at night. Because that means you're going to have a nightmare every night. You're going to be like, you're going to try the digestión, vas a tener una indigestión, and you're going to be like, and I already have super vivid dreams to begin with. I'm like, I don't need that, but... My problem is I never had proper schooling in Spanish. So my vocabulary is limited to things I would interact with my dad, my parents as a child. So I have maybe the vocabulary of like a 10-year-old or 11-year-old because I've never went to school in it, right? Like you give me something to read, I'll do a pretty damn good job reading it because I know pronunciation, right? I can roll the fuck out of my R's, right? But there's just vocabulary words that I don't use, you know? Like, if my parents were listening to the news in Spanish, they would say something like, in the news, there would be something like acontecimientos, right? Which means happenings. But I'm reading that word now. I don't know what the fuck, I don't know what that means. Because we didn't use that at home, you know? So, Iraqi sand is this sand in Iraq really like this? Probably not. Yeah, we're making this one a little extra dirty because it's just too drab. It's all too drab of a color. All right, man. Have fun reading those rules, and hopefully they are really good. Just remember, you can learn a lot from a dummy. I'm glad I spilled the beans on that. That was a long time, man. Kicking like it's 1987. You know, that's like 1987 stuff right there. I don't think it's even 88. Now, we haven't done the drippings yet, as I like to call them. And when you clear coat this, something magic happens. It just like it ties everything together. Because there's little bits of shininess on certain colors, and it just flat coating it just kind of evens all the tones out. It's really like a magic. Especially like the DBA armies, like made a huge difference. All right, let's get our little blend going here. Well, you guys have done an excellent job tonight, keeping me motivated. Hopefully, you guys are doing something creative at the same time. It's not like, I want you guys to come in here and listen to me. Like, I used to like listen to like books of tape and shit like that. It's like, books on tape, CD, whatever, Audible. Having the human interaction definitely helps stay on track a lot better. It's varied, I like listening to talk radio, but talk radio is either sports or politics. I don't care. I don't care about either one. So I'm like, that's not very useful. By the Showcase DBA Army, sorry, that basically is one of your game. Not all of them. I did like 4. I did like the Ostrogoths, if I remember correctly. Ostrogoths, Song Chinese, maybe another Chinese army, and like 4 armies. If you look on my channel, there should be a subheading for DBA. Let me see if I can do this. Let's see. Let's view my channel. And on my channel, under videos, no, it's under home, for you, videos. Let's see. Okay, there's subheadings. There's DBA 3.0 game videos. And that's where you'll probably find them. But there's 230 videos in there. So, amphibious absurdity. Yeah. I'm trying to find one of them. I did like 4 or 5 of them. Missed matchups. I don't even remember that. Color me green. Oh man, the Irish. I liked all my armies. I liked all my armies. Yeah, I'm trying to find them. I did like 4 or 5, but they're hidden in there. Sung Dynasty Chinese, 6 years ago. Yeah, like, let's see. Will I demonetize myself because I'm playing a video that even though it's my video? Irony. ¿Qué pasó acá? Skip. Okay. That's not an Asian sounding thing.
Hi, folks. My name's Tony Aguilar, and I'm here
What a nerd.
to do a small, a short preview. I'm sorry, forced
Yeah, so
the crossbow.
I'll talk about it,
Decided to paint the crossbow
and I'll do like a
probably not accurate, but
close-up version of the actual stand. It takes a lot of work to do that. It takes a lot of work. Like it's not unfun to do. It's just like multifaceted. And it's like this was done 6 years ago. It's got 1,400 views. That's not terrible, but it's a lot of work. So I've got like 40 armies. I could do a lot more of those, but you know, that's not really where my that's not really Ottoman Turks. Okay, Ottoman Turks is another army that I did. Talk about losers. I cannot fight well with. I love that army. They're really cool looking, but man, they're difficult to use. They are difficult to use. But one of the things that's very difficult for me to do is to go back and like reformat that stuff. Like, okay, organize it. Like, it just is. It isn't worth my time. It isn't worth my time to do that. It's like it keeps me from doing all this other stuff. It just becomes a lot of like work. And it's just like when you got a big workload, the last thing you need to do is like your hobby be more work. So we're just redarkening these spots. So all these details can be seen 3 and 4 feet away. Otherwise, hey, you did a great job painting it, but nobody can tell. And this is going to look shiny in places, and when you flat coat it, it'll all even all that out. Trust the process. And I don't mind making videos, but I don't think I'm gonna. I don't think I'm gonna make many more videos ever that are like edited. Like I like doing this. You know why? Because I can do what I need to accomplish, and it's no effort. It's no effort to just turn this on and stuff happens, right? We interact with each other. People come by, they say hi, ask me questions. I don't mind helping people out. But doing all this editing ahead of time, hopefully to get more views, and it's just like it slows down. It slows down the whole process. I've had to edit a video. I got to watch the whole video again, during which time I can't use my phone for phone calls or anything like that. It's like it's just a pain in the ass, So live video, no problem. We're just hanging out here, and if we get few views, you get few views. And if you get a lot of views, well, that's cool too. But all right, some of the rusty drippings part, as I like to call it. Oh, that's negative. I thought it was water. Let's not do that. Yeah, I have a ton of these. I probably shouldn't be reusing them anyways. All right, so we have this handle, and the rust is going to drip from there because this is an old vehicle, right? And then maybe there's a little bit of rust from where that was welded shut, and down here at the bottom also. Okay, and in the front here, got some rust buildup here. I love doing this actually. How the car got its stains. That's why one of the first things I do is I do that brown wash. That keeps the color from being uniform across the entire car, which looks fake. There's got to be some variations to it. Makes it look interesting. You're like, oh, that's kind of an interesting car. Let's take a closer look at it, kind of thing. So you're overworked. What kind of work do you do? So I make sure that when I quit this job and go in a different line of work, it's not that one. No, that ain't gonna happen. I work in a construction-related field. It's a pain in the ass. It's really a pain in the ass. And my daughter loves Spain. For many of the same reasons that I mentioned. And she stayed with this lady that sponsored her. Is that the correct way to say it? Anyway, she like signs up to take care of students, and she was, my daughter is Latina, so she has that. So the other students that stay, they're like American, or they're not like, there's that tie-in. There's the like the edge, like they understand the commonality of it. And she came back speaking Spanish really well, because we don't speak Spanish at home. But now she's like, she appreciated going to like another country where it wasn't like a dump, and was like, okay, well, I don't mind learning the language here. I think that's the undertone, kind of, is it definitely benefited her. So healthcare is a pain in the ass everywhere. The healthcare system here doesn't work, but the way you make the healthcare system better in the United States is not making people wait longer. That's That's the wrong tack, right? Like, you need to get, like, you need to get care. You can't be like, well, it's not my turn. Like, that's not how you make... There's problems here, but that's not how you make it better. Like, oh, we'll just make people wait longer. Like, eso no funciona. Oh, you work in healthcare. Oh, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. You guys are overworked. That's what my daughter's going into. Okay. Now, let's do one little thing. And I love doing this. And I sometimes forget doing this. Let's try to get close to this green. Okay? German dark green's probably pretty close. We just have to get close to it. This is something I learned by doing tanks. And I have plenty of practice doing tanks. I've got fucking hundreds of them. Let's see. Let's show you a tank. Here's a Soviet tank in winter. Ah! No. There's too much, the lighting in here just throws everything off. I'm going to take a photo and I'll show you my phone. How about that? And these are all things that were done after I did DBA. Since I've quit. So, like, none of this would have happened. I would have had like 3 more DBA armies. And none of these tanks or cars or anything like that. I know, it would be even better. It's just out of practice. I mean, I speak to my parents. I wouldn't dream of speaking English to my parents. That's weird as hell. And, these are all 1/72nd scale. So one of the reasons, let me tell you my Portuguese story. One of the reasons that I got into this and told DBA to go fuck off is a guy from Portugal. I don't know if he knows this. His name is, and I'm going to try to pronounce it correctly, although I am not known for, so hopefully I do an okay job. His name is João Peixoto. That's how I would say his name. He lives somewhere in Portugal, and he is a prolific fucking painter. He's on YouTube, and he does and he plays what's the game that he plays? It's a British game. It's 1 to 5 scale or whatever. And he'll do like the 21st Panzer Division or like a Russian Armored Corps, and he has tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff in 1/72nd scale. And I came across him and I'm like, when am I going to do tanks? Because I'm a World War II guy at heart. I mean, I love World War II. I'm not a medieval and ancients guy. It just kind of happened. Yeah, I mean... carajo. The shine on the phone is all off. Rapid Fire, that's the one. Yeah, which is a game that's not worth playing, in my opinion. But he really, influenced me. Yeah, mira to ruso. I gotta tilt this a little bit so you don't get the kickback of it. But this is my spirit. I love World War II shit. Always have. But you don't get to paint flags. You don't get to paint heraldry. So I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tanks. All the ones that I had from before. Plus, I've gotten a lot since then. But the game rules I like to use, you don't get anything done because it's extremely anal retentive. And that's okay, but you have to understand you're not going to get a lot done. Unlike DBA that you finish every game, this you probably have to play over 3 or 4 sessions. But, I don't mind DBA being generic a little bit because it's not my religion, so to speak, Okay, I think these two guys are like good to go. Good to go. So this is Minor Inconvenience. And what do we call this? All whitey then. Yeah, there we go. So that's going to be it for tonight. I appreciate you really, really like World War II, even if ancients are a bit more my crush. Okay, thank you, Pedro, for coming by. And don't forget to subscribe. And hey, hold on a second. I'm literally signing off. Just a moment. Okay, that was the wife. Perfect timing. Who's out of town right now. And I will be back on tomorrow morning. It's very European friendly times. I usually paint in the mornings, especially on Saturday. I'm on usually like by 6 a.m. So hopefully we'll see you again. Don't forget to subscribe, and we could talk about things that